It's actually illegal to be homeless in the UK underneath the Act. Back in the day, they made this rule that you couldn't walk around without tender, which is current. You couldn't walk without currency or identification.
That is insanity. What is this? This is like an act of parliament, like a legislation.
Yeah, that's where we go wrong over and over again, because there are plenty of charities that, you know, your CEO will get paid 134 grand for the year. So you're telling me that your charity needs to fill 134 grand to pay your CEO and then start doing work? So like day before yesterday, we didn't get home till 4:45 in the morning.
Seriously?
Oh wow!
Shit. What, people are right? What is it? How's it do?
Sleeping rough don't wait for time, man.
Mad. 4:45. That's where people who haven't got anywhere to go are really out. That's the whole point. You've got to help someone in small increments because it's a greater good.
And there is nothing too small, right? It might seem very little to you, whatever your little thing, but that is massive to the person sitting.
As they say, you know,
cold.
our rubbish is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
They're made. If you don't make change, if you don't have enough change across the nation, that's why we end up being a nation that fold all the time when new rules come, because no one wants to talk. That's the whole point.
Right, what's happening, my peeps? We're here today with Verral Paul. Did I say it right? Is it
Verral Paul-Walcott, yeah.
Verral Paul-Walcott, yeah. And you're a friend, you're a brother of another friend of mine, Farron, innit?
Yeah.
So good time, good brother.
Defo.
What's happening?
Yeah.
It's going on. Good, yeah. I'm kind of sweaty.
Now, Verral does a lot of stuff working with the community. He's a good man, just like his brother. Tell us a little bit about what you do, please, Verral.
So I run a community organisation called CA6ers that started in lockdown. And basically, by mobilising my biking group, basically we distribute goods for people who are homeless, rough sleepers across London.
So is it specifically for people that are sleeping rough?
It started off that way, but now it's evolved because obviously there's more elements to what homelessness is. There's people who are in temporary accommodation as classed as homeless. Yeah. People who are in domestic violence are classed as homeless. Same with disrepair in your house, like mold and stuff and damp, are all classed as homeless situations.
Wait, what do you mean? Do you mean if you got mold in your house, you're classed as homeless?
Yeah. So under government guidelines, this is on .gov's website. If you go on and ask, and basically ask the question of what it is to be classed as homeless in the UK, there'll be 5 factors. One will be temporary accommodation. Another one will be rough sleeping, obviously. Yeah. Sofa surfing.
What's that? Sorry, what?
Sofa surfing. So you don't have a house, you go from house to house.
Yeah. Is that what they call it? Sofa surfing?
Yeah. People in domestic...
It's been like that for a little while.
People in domestic violence, where the house is unsafe, and disrepair in your house. If you've got mold, damp, and it's inhabitable, then that's classed as homeless as well.
And what do you get, like any sort of benefits for your house being damp? I mean, is it... What, you know, no, but
are you asking for a friend?
No. Like, if your house got mold, and you have to fix it, and you're classed as homeless, how does that benefit you in any way?
No,
it's just a definition.
It's just a definition.
That's what
defining
the
me as
government
homeless.
defines what homeless is.
Really?
But when they count homelessness, it's usually based on only rough sleepers.
Yeah, that's I think there's a general sort of like misunderstanding what people think homeless is, isn't it? Yeah. When people say sort of homeless, they just think people that are actually sleeping rough. Sleeping rough is when you are sleeping God, is there a definition for that as well? Or is it just on the street?
No, just sleeping rough on the street.
Why would you do that though? Why would you say if you've got damp in your yard that you're homeless? Like in this and regard it as the same as sleeping rough?
Because your house is a lot of safe space. It's not inhabitable. It basically means it can make you sick, as well as someone who's sleeping rough will be sick from sleeping on the street. It's not a safe space.
Okay.
I mean, it's a house, but it's not a home, is it? If a home is like a safe place for you to live and sleep in with your family, isn't it? Yeah. But if you've got, like, for example, a broken roof and there's water coming in, it's not really a home, is it? You need to get that fixed. Same thing with the damp, because you're breathing in bacteria, mold, and you're going to get sick, aren't you? So.
Why does it matter to the government how you define it though? Like as in like, you know, there's an issue with like sleeping rough but like saying that your house has got damp. Why does the government define it as homeless? Like, what's the point?
So I'll give you an example. If someone's sleeping rough and, as Andrea said, they had a leak in their roof and they're getting wet, or their stuff's getting wet, there's no difference between that person who's in that house and someone who's also sleeping rough and getting wet at the same time. There's no difference in comparison. If if the door doesn't work, and you know it's classed as an emergency for your door to go and get locked, it's the same as someone sleeping rough who doesn't have a door to shut and to keep safe behind, where having a household with a smashed door open or a kicked-in door for whatever reason is unsafe for you as well. Hence why it's classed as high risk in terms of getting it fixed by your local authorities.
Fair.
Yeah, so I guess that basically means there's quite a high level of homelessness in this country or in London.
100%.
And then there's probably sleeping rough will be, probably a lower proportion in compared to homelessness.
Yeah.
But I guess the more serious issue is the sleeping rough, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
What are the main sort of causes of sleeping rough at the moment?
I mean, they varied. It's just literally, it's life. So it's a situation where, you don't get paid for a month, or you go into schemes that the government will put together, like, you're going to be furloughed. You're going to have 8% of your salary and 20% is going to be taken away because you're staying at home. Or you have Section 21s that were stopped in lockdown and then basically have now reopened. So now you've got influx of people being evicted from their households. You've got schemes where theatres were shut for a period of time. You've got the new scheme where they've let out 5,000 prisoners over a course of a certain period of time, but are also releasing prisoners and giving them tents once they've left.
They're giving them tents?
Yeah.
No,
That's mad.
they're giving them tents.
Wait, sorry, I don't mean to go back here, but did you say theatres are shut?
So they shut theatres and Boris Johnson told everyone to reskill in lockdown.
Oh, yeah, shit, yeah. Damn.
But, when you sit down and you look at things, it's like systems that they put in place, initiatives they put in place never work 360. It only works to basically publicly say we've done something about it. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look behind stuff, it never makes sense. So you've got situations like, Boris Johnson came on, is like, stay home, stay safe. Public toilets are going to be closed. You can only go to shops that are essential. But essential to who? Because a homeless person would need something like go outdoors to buy a tent, to buy a sleeping bag with money they've got. But then when they go to that essential shop, for them, they can't pay for nothing because they're cash only. Then you've got a system where they can't use a public toilet. So where is it they're going to be going to the toilet? Then you've got a situation where they can't get PPE or they've got no safe space to be in. And that's where I kind of woke up and was like, hang on, this ain't making no sense.
Yeah.
Going in the background and seeing someone who's homeless or seeing a multitude of people that are homeless in lockdown when everyone's given a guidance, but the guidelines never belong to them or help them in any way at all.
I think a lot of things didn't make sense in lockdown, innit? I could talk about this all day long, innit? Like all the guidance around, businesses that had to shut. Same thing with the gym. You probably know what I did over here. It was nothing ever made sense with it, innit? And I'm glad you pinpointed those issues there, because I don't know I'll be honest, I don't know the exact numbers. I'm sure you've got a rough idea. What's the sort of numbers at the moment on the
So it's 1 in 50. So if you think of a bus, that goes past you and any given day, it's going to have at least 50 people on it. One of those people would be classed as homeless.
Jeez.
Wow.
But we're talking about only rough sleeping as 1 in 50. If you took temporary accommodation across London,
That'd be a lot more.
How much more though? Like,
we're
what,
talking
1 in 5?
Easily.
1 in 5?
Yeah, easy.
Really?
I mean, if we go by that definition of homeless.
If you think about all those things, all those domestic violence factors, sofa surfing factors, people even having multiple occupancy inside a house where like 12 people are sleeping there, we're looking at very high numbers. And the reason why why I guess things are only registered as one category when they do counts is because it's embarrassing. Yeah. As a nation, how could you publicly turn and say that we've got potentially 181,000 people in the UK that are classed as homeless underneath our guideline?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, that is mad.
You know what strikes me the worst with things like this is it is such an easy thing to solve this issue. Sleeping rough, especially, because the numbers are far less than homelessness, isn't it, right? They could literally just, you know what, I don't know the exact number. I'm sure I can go away and find this now, but they could just put aside a couple million and that would probably solve, just in London, the sleeping rough issue.
So the thing is that yes and no. So I'll give you an example. Lockdown, they turned around and said that they were going to get all homeless people off the street. Okay. Let's say, for instance, they had £32,000 for the budget. Yeah. 32 boroughs, £1,000 each. Okay. What's the difference between Tottenham and Westminster?
I'm going to say Westminster has more homeless, right?
Right, so watch this. hotel-wise, paying for a hotel in North London is going to be considerably cheaper than paying for a hotel in Westminster.
Yeah.
We all know that. It's common sense. We've used the facilities. So if you've given £1,000 to Tottenham, Islip and Walthamstow, we're all in the same bracket of what you're going to have to pay nightly for the actual hotel room.
Yeah.
But when you go to Westminster, you're going to be paying much higher, right? So the common sense thing would be to do, instead of giving each borough a budget to end the homelessness within the area for that period of time,
needs to be proportionate.
take the 32 grand, which is what you've got as an example, hold the 32 grand, phone up the tax office and find out which hotel chain is going to make the most money for that tax year, give them a tax break on their amount, add the 32 grand, we're talking about 45 grand now. Hotels were shut in lockdown. Put all of the homeless people in your chains. You've got Premier Inns or travel lodges across the country. They were all empty. You could have done it that way. Instead, you didn't. And that's the type of nonsense I'm talking about. It's things can be solved for much cheaper, but there's no common sense involved. Yeah. That's the whole point.
I think the point is they don't care. They don't want to solve it. If they wanted to solve it, they could solve it like that.
But then at the same time, when you sit and you look at it, you know, we're programmed to understand something, but we don't really look at it. When you watch films like Annie, or you watch films that have any form of person who's trying to be elected within the film role, or there's always that person who helps them with their political lead that says, let's go to an orphanage, let's go and help some people so we can show people that you're empathetic. It's used as a marketing tool. And until we stop allowing people to come into power by using it as a marketing tool, we're always gonna have this problem. Always.
It happens with every single politician.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like it's almost happening to your brother right now. They're like using your brother. Your brother does good work in the community. And you know, the Home Office will call him in, Prime Minister. I feel it's all just for show.
No, I think, and obviously I won't speak too much on that. I don't think that's the case for him. I think that's something more he would have to answer because he knows what's going on. But for me, personally, it's one of them where you got to look at it this way. If someone comes and helps me and brings me to that level of having those conversations, but you're still carrying on with the same nonsense 10 years from now, then you've made your position worse because you brought someone that would have been able to consult and get rid of that problem in a sense. Yeah. So it just shows that you wanted to carry it on. If you subject yourself to not trying to connect with someone and try to get something done, then obviously it's a thing where you don't want something done. But now you've conducted yourself appropriately and spoken to him, you will have to get things done. You will have to get things done because you publicly said and shown yourself that you know the situations that are at hand, you know what he's doing. Do you know what I mean?
But didn't you say that
he's already publicly gone against everything he said he was going to do? Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't going to raise taxes. He wasn't going to raise national insurance contribution. The budget came out the other day. He literally went against what he said. Everyone's.
But this is the thing. The thing is, even like, you know, David Lammy's just come out and congratulated the presidency in America. But in 2017, he's telling us said that he's a racist, and if he came to this country, he'd protest against him being there.
He said a lot about shit about Trump. Yeah.
But anyway, 5 years from now, that's kind of on my agenda, is to run against David Lammy.
It's a local MP for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Yes, brother. That's what we need. This is all I keep saying to people. You know, if one thing I wish I got out of my mayoral campaign was that I inspired other people to just rise up, rise at the independence, I call it. Just
it's gotta be
go
done,
for that. We need to get rid of this whole toxic political party system. You know, parties, they're just like all.
Do you know what's mad?
For.
I was looking at they had a vote against. So when the government do votes and stuff, like if they should, get rid of winter gas and electric for elderly or whatnot. So they have to do a vote internally. Yeah, I didn't know you can get your whip removed if you vote against what your actual political leader wants.
Oh yeah, they all have to do as they're told.
Like imagine what? So basically, say for instance you've turned and said, okay, cool, boom, I'm gonna turn and say that I'm gonna rise bus fare to £15 a ticket. Yeah. If anyone in your party, whether it be Labour, Conservative, whatever, votes against what you want to bring as a manifesto, you get your whip removed. You get suspended for like 2-3 weeks.
Oh, damn.
So you got to go with it.
That's how the whole party system works.
And with the whip comes scrutiny of like, you believe in something or you're going against the party's ethics. So you could all lose it for good.
That's crazy. So what, that means that everyone fully agreed with the taking the...
No,
the
it
stuff
means
away?
majority
Majority
of that.
Oh, okay.
But then when you look in it, you get to work out who voted for what, and then you can see if they're ethically still there and whatnot.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you'll be running as an independent, right?
Of course, all day long. I ain't
all
got
day
time
long.
for nothing
I
else.
will get behind you 100%.
Nah,
on that,
thanks,
brother.
man.
Honestly, I'm with you on that, man. That's what we need, innit? I mean, at the moment, we've got one independent in London, Corbyn, for Islington. And I mean...
I've met him, he's good, man.
Yeah, he's a good man. I love him. You know, he's very far on the left on the political compass and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not about the political compass, innit? It's just about doing good and right for people.
Yeah.
And that man is probably one of the only politicians that...
I mean, look, we get taught so much stuff, you know. We've got words like the word friend. The last 3 letters have end. Somewhere along the line, that relationship's got to be deaded. You know, you have friends, you don't have friends. Community, last 5 letters, the word unity. We don't have enough of it. And that's half the problem that we've got. It's the things that we kind of bring to the table that force conversations to happen because you're forcing that something's wrong with something.
Yeah.
And the whole I guess the whole mood and tempo of how politicians deal with us is subject to their own insecurities in terms of they're not bothered about anything. You know, I look at the school system as like an Apple update. The curriculum's an Apple update. If us as adults aren't happy with something, it filters down into the kids' curriculum to grow them up as adults that accept things.
And a lot of the time,
how it works.
It's not what the children should be learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, at the end of the day, you know, I've got this this comic coming out. So I got signed to a company called Sovereign Comics about 2 years ago. And that's bringing what I do with homelessness and poverty into schools through comic illustration. So for me, it's like...
What age group is that for?
No, it's literally primary school. So it's from year 2, let's say, to about year 6.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, that's the problem. I've got 2 kids growing up and I've not got any time to sit at home and complain about something when I know that they're going to be adults one day and they're going to have to deal with the same problems. If I've given them a platform to basically build off, if it isn't finished by then they've got something. Yeah. There's no point. You can't be an activist in your bedroom watching TV.
This is what
you kind of can do, like on the computer and that.
Yeah, but you know what?
99% of people
now, all that gets filtered and deleted.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It's nonsense.
Yeah, but it's like, what do you do with that?
This is what I keep saying. We need more face to face. You know, just people literally put down the phone and everyone just stand next to each other. And
it's just
get up off your ass and do something.
What's your comic about then? What's it entail?
So they've basically illustrated me into a comic. It's called Shelter King.
Oh, it's you. You're the like superhero.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This guy, you know. So with that, it's like I'm against Red Tape Brigade, who basically like throw red tape at everything. Every time I try to do good, they throw red tape at it.
That's interesting.
Illustrated my wife as being like a secretary that works in the Home Office, but will eavesdrop on everything that's going on. Come home and tell me or phone me while she's at work and whatnot. And like,
this is sounding like an interesting comic.
No, it's good. Especially if you're giving it to year 2. That's good. That's going to keep them aware from a young age.
You're going to get other little heroes rising up as well. That's good. I like that.
It's a good comic, man. Check them out.
And it's all your illustrations?
No, not my illustrations.
But you wrote the story.
No, Sovereign Comics did.
Oh, okay.
It's actually comic illustrated.
How did you get that going? How did that?
They found me through social media, man.
Oh, right. That's mad. Yeah, that's...
No, they're proper.
And you're a graphic designer, so it just all kind of...
But I don't even do any graphics for it. They literally just went with
that's just coincidence. That's mad. I thought you meant you made it and then you put it out there.
No.
Okay.
No. I have wrote a children's book though that's gonna come out next year.
Oh, that's it.
What's that about?
Yeah.
So basically, it's like, how can I explain it? Do you remember Hey Doug or Recess?
Yeah, I remember Doug. Yeah, it was a Nickelodeon channel.
Yes, you had the younger kids and then they kind of went to college. It's like high school version of them, like Rugrats.
Yeah.
So what it is basically my son, which is Hudson, and my daughter Phoenix.
2 strong names there, man.
Yeah. So we also lost twins in between those, and that's Falcon and Grey. we were going to call them. So
Were
basically,
they not born yet?
no, they weren't born yet. So it's based on my 4 children. Well, me and my wife's 4 children. And what it is they all play it on bikes. Hudson's the leader. They all kind of ride around the city and whatnot. And one day they're riding past Big Ben in central London. So you see them as teenagers flying through traffic and whatnot, just having a real good time. And they come across this homeless gentleman called Mr. Tom sitting on the stairs. And it has like a sign that says, "We'll work for food." So Hudson, being intrigued and Phoenix having a heart of gold, they kind of rock up to him and ask him if he's all right. He explains to me a story about what happened to him and whatnot. And then Hudson decides that, you know what, let's try and get some food for you. So he goes riding around, goes to local shops that he knows he's grown up in the area for, collect stuff on his bike, and then they all hub back and connect. When they get back to the Big Ben, they see loads more homeless people and they gather around and take stuff off their bikes and stuff. And then obviously Falcon and Gray are basically saying, you know, we should do this more often. And Hudson then whispers to the homeless gentleman, he goes, "You might remember my dad." And then he obviously introduced me to Mr. Tom as a character. Mr. Tom remembers me from back in the day, and it goes into a couple of pages of like articles to show that this group is just a baby version of what the older group is, and that children's books are kind of inspire kids to show that if you are out on your bike and you see stuff or you want to make some changes within your own area because you see problems, you can do it.
Even if it's small, man.
So it's inspiration. It's an inspirational book for the youth. That's good, man.
I mean, if you don't inspire people with the problems that you're facing yourself, you're just adding to the problem. Because if I turn and say, you know, if I passed away, I know that my 2 kids and my wife are going to be looked after. It's not financial. That's what legacy is about. That your life stands for something that when you're gone, it holds its weight. You know, it's the finances run out, houses run out, mistakes happen, they can lose everything. But if you had enough substance in your character, your family will always be okay when you're gone.
You installed a set of values in them.
Yeah.
That's more valuable than anything.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah.
Do you know, I want to go back to this homeless stuff that we was talking about. Oh, sorry, sleeping rough stuff. So growing up like in London, I always thought that sleeping rough like almost was like, it was not, I don't want to say a choice, it's not a choice, but a lot of the people that are sleeping rough are like kind of a bit mentally ill. And like, it's not as hard to get off the streets as you might talk about. Like, I thought it was quite easy to get housed in that way. Like maybe not in London so much, but like if I went homeless and I was like, all right, listen, I got nowhere, I'm on the streets, I need help, they would at least put me in somewhere outside of London. Is that not a thing?
No, not at all.
Oh damn.
So, in order for a homeless individual to get housed, he would have to be in shelter accommodation possibly for 3 months consecutively. And that's his proof of him being able to pay bills. It's like his reference. So the shelter will be classed as a landlord. They'll give him the details and he'll take that on to, unless he's got mental health or something, that's possible. But usually for someone who doesn't have those conditions or hasn't got those problems, they have to go through a whole process of them proving themselves. But here's the punchline. If someone who's sleeping rough has mental health and they go into a shelter, because they're not supported with that mental health, if they have an incident in the house where they've smashed up a door or caused grievous bodily harm to someone else in there, they've made themselves intentionally homeless, which means they will get told to go, but on their record, he did X, Y, Z.
So you won't
and that'll be even
into
harder to get him back in.
So it's the shelter then the home, basically. Do you have to pay for the shelter? No.
Oh, yeah.
How much is the shelter?
Nearly £18 a night sometimes.
£18 a night? Oh, wow.
80 or 18?
18.
That's cheap in comparison to what some shelters are charging. And when you're going into these shelters sometimes look like, you know, when you put up the bed when you have a wall and it's like loads of
like
rows.
a long door.
It ain't what we think it is. You know, they say, I need money for a shelter. We're thinking about a room, 1 bed, little TV over there. No, we're talking about pop-up beds.
It's a hall with
in a
loads of
row,
beds.
you know, and your blanket and whatever possessions you've got, you're keeping them with you and you're hoping that when you woke up in the morning, someone hasn't stolen them.
So if you're homeless, you got no money, yeah? You're jobless, yeah, and then you become homeless and you've got no money. How are you supposed to, what's the deal there? How do you sort yourself out?
But this is the thing. this is why things are very technical. We're taught to uplift ourselves, pursue a career, go get a mortgage, do bloody bloody blah. But they don't
Join
teach us
the system.
exactly. But they don't teach us how to sustain it. So 1 month you don't get paid, your mortgage doesn't get paid. So you're now in arrears. The following month you do get paid, so you've now paid back what you owed, but you're still in arrears again, and you're playing catch up. All it takes is a week slip up. You buy a TV over paying your rent, or you buy a TV over paying your phone bill, you're always going to be in a deficit. So if you get to that situation where you've lost your job, by the time you signed on to Universal Credit, let's say, they ain't covering all your expenditures that you had when you had your job. There's people that are pilots that are homeless. There are people that are lawyers that are homeless. Why? Because their livelihood allowed them to live a certain life, but as soon as they lost their job and they couldn't uphold their livelihood anymore, everything's now gone. That's why I keep saying to people, there's no different. If a Mercedes, a top class Mercedes, 24 plate pulls up to a food bank, someone will take a picture and be like, "Oh my God, can you believe that the person had the audacity to pull up in a Mercedes at the food bank and get food from us?" There's no difference between someone who has a Nissan Micra and someone who has a Mercedes. Do you know why? Because their income, based on what they're paying for their cars, is no different in terms of scale. Someone who's paying for a Mercedes at £400-500 a month, and someone who's paying for a cheaper car at a lower rate, that's what they can afford credit-wise, and that's what they can afford credit-wise. That's the problem.
Well, as soon as they lose the means to pay for it, they're in the same boat kind of
There's
thing.
no difference between the two.
Liquidity, and I think this is a problem a lot of people are facing right now. They're facing decisions. Do I pay my electric bill, or do I put food on the table, or do I, a lot of people are facing these problems right now.
That's the thing.
What kills me right now is that there's so many people with these decisions, and they're not like, they're not like decisions over, oh, do I go on holiday, or do I buy that designer jacket? These are decisions of food or this or that. And at the same time, rather than the government helping these people, they're not helping, they're making it worse. And at the same time, it's almost like spitting in everyone's faces. They're bringing over, like, you've got record numbers of people coming into the country. We won't get into, whatever the reasons is, asylum seekers. And then they're housing them in hotels, fully paid for, putting money in their pocket, when we've got people that were born here, grew up here, paid taxes here, contributed to the system here, that aren't being taken care of. And that's right now, that's
what do you think about that?
Do you know what? I'm a people's person. And for me, anyone who is fleeing a problem in their own country, I have no problem them residing here. There's no issues with that. But at the same time, I'll give an example. Gentrification is a thing of fixing an area, yeah?
We've seen that in our lifetime.
Now, if you're fixing an area, I believe that when you fix the area, it should be for the people that have been paying council tax, service charges and whatnot in that area. They should be able to have a life where they have got all of the things they complained for previously, like disrepair in their house, in some areas, urinated hallways or whatever. All of a sudden you've got brand new complexes right next to them, but they're still complaining about their stuff. But people who they've never seen in the area before now have these homes.
This is what I'm talking about.
That's the whole thing. I believe in fixing communities, but they've got to be for the communities. They've got to be there for the communities that have been there the whole time.
As the first priority,
exactly.
Right? This is what I'm saying. I've got no problems with people, migrating to this country. I'm a third generation immigrant myself. My grandparents migrated here. My father and my mother were born here, and then I was born here. So I'm like is that a second or third generation, whatever, innit? I got it. But it's the people that are here already. They're being treated as the second-class citizens over the people that are coming.
Given tents, that's mad.
And I mean, the thing is that
literally tents, isn't it?
Like we have situations where they have like put in like tabloid newspapers that we're gonna house, people that have come over or whatnot. But you imagine someone who's been in this country or even served in the army has to read that tabloid newspaper while he's sitting outside waiting for someone to help him to get some food or some warmth, but he's had to read that.
Yeah, that's another one that kills me, man. The veterans that have literally defended this country are sleeping in tents.
Do Do you know what? I just think
And
to
they're
myself,
even getting evicted from, you know, like they all set up tent in Park Lane recently.
Alright, so watch this. So there's a thing called the Vagrancy Act, yeah? So it's actually illegal to be homeless in the UK underneath the act.
Illegal to be
It's gonna be
homeless.
illegal
Yeah.
to be homeless.
So back in the day, they made this rule that you couldn't walk around without tender, which is current. You couldn't walk without currency or identification. Yeah.
That is insanity. What is this? This is like an act of parliament, like a legislation.
Yeah. It's like like hundreds, thousands of years ago. And through the act, this is why you had things like this. You know, we used to have the little spikes outside beneath the supermarkets.
The what?
The little spikes on the floor outside supermarkets.
What, to stop them going in the wrong
Yeah.
way in the
No,
car?
to stop them from outside the supermarket where they used to sit and
On the walls, you mean?
No, on the floor.
What?
Do you ever remember these little spikes?
I don't remember.
They're like made out of stone. They're like little pyramids on the floor.
I think I do
Oh,
now.
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, because all the homeless used to sit
So they
outside.
put
And
those up there for them.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I
Under the
remember that, I
Vacancy
remember that, I
Act.
remember
Then
that,
they
yeah,
started putting new benches in the area. Had like a pole between so they couldn't lay on them. Then they made bus shelters, you know, bus stops.
Yeah.
They made them slanted so they couldn't lay on those neither. So you just slide off if you did try to lay on them.
Yeah, that's mad.
There's loads of changes. Remember back in the day,
thought about that.
I never-
noticed this.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all for homelessness.
back in the day, we used to have the bar and then the actual seats would swivel.
Yeah,
And
I
he's
remember
flat
that.
on
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
That was because of that as well.
Yeah, they stopped with that as well.
Bravs, I'm all sitting on that thing sliding off that seat thinking, why are they doing this? It's because of the homeless
reason.
thing. That's mad. That's actually
But you know,
the way
it's,
they design things.
yeah.
and then
It's
Richie Sunak took that away. So we're like, yeah, you know, it's not going to be a criminal offence to be homeless anymore. Then my man's going to put them in antisocial behaviour. So so now if someone comes up to you and asks you for money or support or help, they can be arrested for antisocial behaviour.
Really? So begging's not allowed anymore?
No.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie. I've ignored my fair share of, you know, like people asking me for money, and I've given money loads of times as well. It's usually I give money when it's like when I see a woman, and then you've probably seen it, like a woman with a child or something. I'm falling victim to it because they're probably, I've heard they make quite a lot of money doing it, and they send their kids out and all of that. I'm not gonna get into it or whatever, but like, where do you sort of draw the line with it? And
So when I first started, I used to battle with it all the time. And then I realized that I'm messing myself up. So I'm not religious, but I am drawing towards just continuing to be a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what happened was it got to a situation where I just didn't know what to do anymore. And I completely crashed out on, you know, the whole giving them money or whatever. And then something clicked. And it made so much sense to me. This country, worldwide, have schemes put in place where you get like 0% interest. Yeah. Or you have a credit card or you have an overdraft in your bank account. Now, that basically means someone who has no money in their own bank account can still go and get a TV, 60-inch TV for like $1,000, let's say, pay 0% interest so they can afford to pay it monthly because they working. Yeah. So you're telling me someone can go and get a TV for free basically and pay for it monthly. That's Argos helping you out.
Yeah.
But then the same person who's walked past a homeless person outside won't even buy them a sandwich because they can't get credit for the food. If someone has a Mercedes and they walk into Mercedes and they put a credit check and they drop a £500 deposit on the car, if Mercedes says no, you're catching a bus. But where they are saying yes to you, even though you're paying some APR on top, that's why you've got a nice car. Majority of houses that get paid for, 600 grand, 800 grand, no one's got that money. But because the bank look at your credit history and say, yeah, you can afford to do it, you're now given you don't have to go private renting.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point.
It comes at a big cost.
It does come at a big cost, but the whole point is that's now your portfolio. If they said no to you, you're going to be basically hemorrhaging money monthly and not getting anywhere in life because you're paying private renting.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that's the balance. You are getting your hand out. The reason why this happened was because a lady saw me once when I was doing supporting someone and I gave him some socks, and the woman was coming through the car park and she's like, I've been watching you, what are you doing? And I told her what I'm doing, and she's like, but how do you know he's genuine? And I said, I don't know he's genuine. It's not my problem. She said, what do you mean? I said, if you're doing a good deed and you're gauging what you think that person's going to do with it, that is not a good deed to God. Because you're judging. You're not supposed to judge. If I've got socks and I give him socks, keep it moving. If I've got money in my pocket, I shouldn't be looking at someone and casting my own story about them because I didn't write their book.
Yeah.
If I give someone a tenner, and if my nephew calls me up and says to me, Uncle, I need £20 because I don't have gas and electric, and I see him on Instagram afterwards, living up the place, buying some drink in a club or whatever, that's his problem if he didn't put gas and electric in. That's not mine. It's not cutting my bad deed away. Yeah. That's his bad. That's his karma. It's not my karma.
We need more people.
But isn't it more people you've got only so much money to help people with, so you don't want to give it to the wrong people? Isn't it more like that though?
Nah, because when you start thinking like that, I could meet the most genuine person, but because he doesn't look like he needs help, I haven't helped him. But then the universal credit gets bumped on a daily basis from people that don't need universal credit, and they just bump in the system where they're frauding the system. But I want to look at someone who's sitting outside in the cold asking for money in a cup. Whether he's got money or not, he's still technically grafting for it. But someone back at home is typing in and putting application forms for fraud for saying they're disabled when they're not. But they're grafting, but I'm having a go at him because I can physically see him, but I can't have a go to people in the nation that defrauding the system. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. They're hemorrhaging more money monthly, consecutively.
See, I used to basically take a load of the gym meals, we get, I think, delivered about something like 150 meals a week here and whatever. And then sometimes, maybe we're reaching like the last day expiry date on the meals, and I'll drive down to like Haringey. There's quite a lot of, you've probably seen them where the bridge is or whatever. And I'll hand them out there. And I was doing this for quite a long time, I was just like, here, you take that, or whatever. And then I noticed, some of the, the homeless there, they take the meals, they almost get angry at me that I'm giving them food, and then I watch them. I just sit in my car and watch them, and then they'd go across the road, look inside, and they'd just leave the food on the floor. And at the same time, they're asking for money off people, that used to really annoy me.
That is a problem. So it's like a business as well, isn't it?
So I'll show you what I go on for that. So basically, this is what happened. Before I made this initiative, I got a phone call on Facebook about 2:00 in the morning through Facebook Messenger. So it's woke me up. It's woke my wife up. So I've answered it, put it on loudspeaker, and
my missus would probably slap me if I didn't have my phone on silent at 2 in the morning.
My wife knows what my wife knows what it's about. She's solid, man.
Yeah.
So I've answered, and someone's on the phone and said, "Look, I've just come through King's Cross. There's a guy here with no food. He's got no shoes on, and it's absolutely freezing outside." Cool. Put the phone down. I said, drop me a location. She dropped me a location. So I've gone to my wife. She's like, do you know what, babe? Just go. Fine. Jumped to my bike. We're down there.
You pedalled from here to King's Cross.
It's minor. What
was that, 20 minutes?
Yeah. So I've approached the gentleman, and he's sitting with loads of prep bags. So I'm thinking, I'm trying not to judge. Prep bags, the food.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to judge or whatever. So I'm talking to him, and halfway through the conversation, he's gone to me, "I bet you're wondering why I've got loads of prep bags with me." So I said to him, "Yeah." And he goes to me, "This lady came," which I think was a lady previously that came before the one that called me. And basically, she gave me this food, and she said that when I see my friends on the street, people I know that I know around the area, I must give it to them. I was like, okay. So are you hungry? He's like, yeah, I'm hungry, but I can't eat any of this stuff. And I said, oh, okay. Not in the rude. I said, oh, how comes? He's like, because I'm allergic to dairy. And I said, what? He's like, yeah. Tuna mayo, can't have it. Egg and cress, can't have it. Bacon, still got butter. And I was like, wow. So this guy's sitting there with about 6 bags of sandwiches that he can't eat because he's allergic to something. Then it dawned on me, when the population, I'll give an example. If you were going to help someone, a homeless person, and you were just walking into Sainsbury's or Tesco's, what would you buy them?
Something quick off the shelf, a sandwich, a drink, something like that.
So that's the problem. Majority of people's go-to is a meal deal. But the dietary requirements don't exist. No one thinks about that part. So as soon as it's given to them, it's like the term beggars can't be choosers is exactly what that is. You go to someone with a sandwich, we go to someone with food and you hand it to them, there's an element of oppressing them with what they've got.
Yeah.
And then I remember one time I had to defend a gentleman sleeping outside Tesco's because someone was trying to give them a Scotch egg. The guy was Muslim. A whole pack of Scotch eggs because it was...
There's pork in the linings, isn't it?
Because it was reduced.
Yeah.
And
he was kicking off.
Yeah. Like, why would you take it? What do you mean you're not going to eat it? And when you sit there and you think to yourself, is this where we're at? You know, I send my kids to school. My wife sends my kids to school. And every time it's their birthday, we work out what the dietary requirements of the class is. If someone's gluten, we'll make like a gluten cake and bring it in. But as soon as it comes to giving someone something who has nothing,
you're trying to force his
supposed to take everything
out the window.
That's mad, yeah.
So what I did was I set up a currency system. So how my currency system works is basically I put like 100 to 200 pound behind a till in like a Caribbean shop. And basically I get these little coins, they're a bit like poker chips with my logo on them.
Yeah, that's good.
And I give them out to families who only use a food bank sometimes, but a Friday they might want to take away. Imagine walking past your local kebab shop or your local Jamaican shop and never being able to afford the food. That is a mind problem in itself. A kid will always draw to wanting a chicken nuggets and chips from McDonald's or whatever and can never obtain it. So what I did was I put the money behind the till, and that allows individuals, whether it be homeless, when I give them 5 coins, let's say, he's guaranteed 5 hot meals when he wants them per day, per week, let's say. So he goes in there, hands the coin over. The company, the owner and the workers already know what's going on. They don't have to question him.
Yeah.
They take the coin, it comes off my tab, and basically they can pick what they want from the menu with their dietary requirements intact. If he don't want meat, he don't have to eat meat. He can have fish.
Choose
if
off
he
the
don't
menu.
want, if he don't want to have something, he doesn't have to have it.
How do you determine who gets the coins? Like, how do you know
People
that
I come into contact with.
Oh, okay, so you know their story and everything.
Yeah. But even that, again, the question, I've stopped questioning myself. It's about helping people because my personal life is so blessed, that I don't even question anything
It's
anymore.
just that you're talking about these people that exploit systems and stuff, like even the bigger systems. You sound like you're doing a very good deed. And having someone exploit that would infuriate me. That'd be
Yeah, no, but there's always gonna be people exploiting it. But
someone exploits. But I'm done. I'm
trying to do
I'm
it.
done. Do you know what the thing is? Is like the amount of things people have to go through to get help is mental, and the red tape involved in getting people help is also mental. I've just got that situation that's just happened between a woman seeing me on BBC and messaging me and saying to me, have you seen a picture of this person?
I was gonna ask you about
And then me replying and saying, I know where he is, of 20 minutes later, and her blocking me on Facebook and coming back to me a year later and saying to me, look, the picture I sent you is my dad. You found him in 20 minutes. I've been looking for him for 30 years, and I've been told by charities or police or local authorities they can't give me anything because of data protection. That is mad red tape. For 30 years,
that is mad.
These charities and stuff could have known where that dad was, but not say nothing to her because of data protection. That is mad red tape for me.
Yeah.
So when I say to myself, I ain't got time for that. Yeah. So it's like, this is your dad, and I look after your dad, even more so now.
Yes.
And she comes down and she meets him, and you see them two connect, You cannot by any means tell me that is normal. And it's not normal because I haven't gone by the red tape way of doing things.
On the flip side to that, though, what you did was a massive good deed there. But on the flip side, sometimes the red tape, the data protection is there to protect people. Like, for example, in that case, can you imagine, say, let's just, we're talking theory here, the father didn't ever want to see her again.
So that's the common...
She was a serial killer.
So that's the common sense part of it. So what I did was, I said, I know who this gentleman is, and I've located him, but I'm going to go and talk to him first. So I did go over and speak to him first and say to him, look, I've got something to tell you. I'm not sure how you're going to take this. And he was like, what is it? He's quite cheeky. He's like, what is it? What do you want? Kind of thing, after I've helped him. And he goes to me, what is it? I said, Mike would like to say hello to you. Would you like to see her? And my man looked up to me, eyes filled up with tears, and he goes, how do you know her daughter? And I said to him, because she's contacted me through social media, and he's like, tell her I want to see her. Tell her right now I want to see her. And I said, would you like to send her a message? And he gave her a voice note and he goes, you know, Mika, I miss you. I'm so glad I've been able to have some contact with you, you know, and I can't wait to see you, honey. Boom, boom, boom. Send it back to her. She's now feel reassured because her dad actually wants to see her. She didn't know if she was going to be like sent away or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's come down, and the day she came down was the day he wasn't there. You know? So I put a video up on social media and said, look, Verral community, I'm looking for her dad. She's now here from Yorkshire. We need to find him. She left. Half an hour later,
You found it.
I got the drop on where he was.
Typical.
Already gone.
Is that why she blocked you for a year?
No.
Oh.
She brought me here because she was scared of. Imagine looking for someone and all of a sudden someone turns and says, in
Straight
20
away.
minutes, yeah, I found him. That's wild.
Yeah. Probably not even ready for that.
When you sit and think, you're looking for someone, if you're putting the work in, you're looking for someone, you're active and you're looking for someone, that's okay. But when you get the answer, you don't know what the answer was going to be like because you're used to responses saying we can't tell you anything.
How old was the girl?
She is, I'll give you a roundabout age, she's 34.
So imagine she spent her whole life, basically. 30 years is her whole life.
That's
From a
not her
little
actual
girl
age, as an example.
wondering where her dad is.
And the dad's in London.
In
And she's from,
Wood Green.
and
He's
she's
in
from
Wood Green.
Yorkshire. And she's from Yorkshire. You said?
Wiltshire.
Wiltshire. Bro,
That's about 2.5 hours away.
Oh, okay. Still.
You know where Stonehenge is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So imagine that, man. As a from a little tiny young girl, you're just wondering where your dad is. I mean, she's had a million thoughts go through
And do you know
her
what's
head
mad?
over the years.
The mad part about the whole situation, because do you know what it is? It's mad because she came down and I've looked at her, I've looked at him, and their characteristics are so much alike, man. Like the way they articulate is exactly the same. And it's like, she brought down pictures. He's sitting down and looking at pictures he's not looked at for about 30 years of old school friends, of uncles, aunties. And this is things he's had to log in his head as memories that are almost distant because you've forgotten who people are. And they're just sitting having conversations, looking at these pictures, baby photos and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, this is wild. Like, I'm a grown man. There was an element where I looked at it and I said, yeah, whatever you think you are, hard man or whatever, that'll be a thing that will completely make you emotional towards it. Because that's mad. I've got 2 kids. I can't imagine losing one for even an hour. Look how we overreact when we think we've lost our kids in a supermarket, but they're running around the store and we can't find them. We panic straight away. Imagine panicking for 30 years. That uneasy questioning.
What was the reason the separation was the?
He grew up in a children's home, youth hostel, I think, as well. And
So he had a child as a kid. He was a kid still.
yeah, and obviously it's a thing where kids don't come with instructions. There's no right or wrong way of doing stuff, but sometimes it's difficult. And this is what I always say: if you've got a relationship, and this is nothing to do with that story, but I always say this: if you've got a relationship and the relationship's toxic, you're going to end up with a child that is completely broken and not understanding how life's supposed to be. They're not going to understand how a woman's supposed to be in a relationship or how the man's supposed to be. It's better you split, because that understanding of having that one dynamic will actually make you have more character than having to choose between what dynamic you need to be picking on a daily basis, because they keep arguing.
Yeah.
So going forward, it's like, if you feel like your child could do better without you because your habits are not going to make their habits bad, then by all means, you will make room.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I could never, under any circumstances, part from my children. I mean, I won't go into it, but I've had a difficult year myself with my first daughter's mother, and it's like I would just literally fight till my dying days to see my child. So, but it was amazing that you could bring them back together. Like,
yeah, 100%.
When I was watching that video, I was just sitting there like, wow, that was amazing.
No, it's wild, man. But
where was it? You brought them to? Was it in Wood Green?
Yeah, Wood Green. Outside Five Guys. And this is the mad thing. So she came down the Wednesday. So he has a dog, right? So his dog sadly passed away the Tuesday.
Oh wow! So it's like a little gift the day after.
So it was like they always say dogs are spiritual and whatnot. That is one of the maddest situations I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like you knew that completion was going to happen.
Dogs are like family members, man. Have you had a dog before? Or?
I have, but I don't have any anymore. We're going to get one though, 100%.
For your kids?
Yeah, we will get one.
That's the thing. I've had dogs before and I just can't do it again, man, because they live for what, like 10, 15 years if you're lucky. And when they pass, is literally like losing a family. I'm still like my last one, she passed away in 2017. And I'm still, every time I see a picture with her, my eyes go watery and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah,
but I want my children to have that same experience. So yeah,
I heard that.
I told my daughter as soon as she's old enough to take the dog for a walk by herself and look after it by herself, then I get her one. Yeah. She's far away from that.
Yeah,
you know, with your coin system and stuff, like obviously that must cost a bit of dough to do stuff like. Where'd you get all your funding from and stuff like that?
So this is the thing. There's no funding involved in what I do because I don't like the conditions that come with it. But in the early days, it was literally my own pocket.
Really?
Yeah. So because I'm a graphic designer, majority of restaurants I did the artwork for in my local area in North London, Caribbean shops. So you've got Juicy Roots.
I know Juicy Roots. Yeah.
Yes, I did Juicy Roots.
Peppers and Spice are my favourite.
Yeah. So Juicy Roots was the first Jamaican restaurant I did. Then I've done some work for Guinness, which is just across the road.
Okay. They were both on Lordship Lane.
Yeah. Philip House, which is Philip Lane Chinese shop. Done some signage for them as well. Rose Caff from Philip Lane as well. Couple Tottenham Town Bakery. Done some graphic design for them as well.
So you just do a bit of work for them, and you can do the token.
No. So prior to that, before I used to do graphic design with them. So it was an easy transition to ask them to help me out with the coin system.
Yeah.
So like if I put £100 in, my meals would last longer because they would have subsidised some of the meal packages.
And they give you a discounted rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all for a good deed, isn't it?
Why don't you just set up a GoFundMe or something and get some of them donations coming in so you can do more of that? Because I feel like that's a really good system.
So again, in the early days, I had a Just Giving page, and you see me. The easiest way.
Did you get a lot in there, or was it?
Yeah. So I had a van. I basically had a situation where local authorities were going to help me out with something, but that's sort of red tape that came with that.
What was the red tape?
Things like you can't take the van out your area. I have to then count what ethnicities I'm helping.
Really?
Then it had
What's that got to do with helping? That's what I'm saying, isn't it? Yeah.
But for me, it's like where I'm at now, I'm really good at networking, and that's not an ego thing. I'm just really good at networking and getting support. I'm getting support from companies like Coca-Cola, Deliveroo, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspurs, lock companies, bike companies. A company called Omnium that sent me out a bike that's nearly $4,000 through customs. They sent 2 of them. You know, a company called Space for Change who paid for half of one of them to come over as well. And this is a continuous thing for me. It's the way I've looked at how mine's worked is I've been quite fortunate to have a lot of PR with what I do. And as it stands in this precise time, there is technically no real reason. Me and my boys are going to go riding anyway. We're going to ride our bikes. How about you just throw some toothpaste and essentials in your backpack and we go for a ride? It's almost like, you know, when you say to your friend, come over and bring a bottle.
Yeah, it's the same thing really, isn't it?
Let's go for a ride and bring some proceeds. It's that simple. We're going to be out on a Friday night. We're going to be chilling with each other. We're going to go ride Brick Lane and get some bagels anyway. Help someone.
So with beef.
Yeah.
What? So you go out on the bikes and then just hand stuff out to people that are sleeping rough or rough?
Yeah, just people I see on the street.
So have you set up something where other people can join you, or is it just you guys? So people can get their bikes and join on your.
Yeah.
That's
tell us a little bit about these bike journeys.
Yeah, man, I'll do that. That sounds
like a good Friday night, bro.
Yeah, man, I'll do that.
But who the hell wants to go out partying or whatever? This is way better.
So how it works is basically easiest way to explain it is I basically put a set location. I say, right, guys, we're going to meet in Islington. So anyone who wants to come, they join up. On my cargo bike, usually my friend or Alex or James or Sean or whoever will ride their bikes with me. We'll go to my headquarters and basically get all the proceeds and put them onto bikes. We'll then ride to the group and proportionally give out those items to individuals. and we might hit Islington tonight. So we go to Islington, we all split. We got one cargo bike that has the main goods, which must really be my one or my friend's ones. And basically that's your pantry for the night. You just keep riding back to the bike when your backpack's finished, top up, ride back. You got any socks over there, Alex? Alex will give you the pair of socks. You ride back and give the gentleman the socks or whatever. And the night's done. You're already out.
You not got walkie-talkies, or is it just on the phone? Phone.
We know. We're so used to it now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you go home, you've had a Friday night out with the lads.
Yeah.
Or obviously when women came as well. And then you've done a good deed. You go home.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Did you look get the beers going and that as well?
I don't drink. I'm drinking. I don't drink.
Yeah, I'll definitely be in. I'll be in.
No, but you kind of
I'm joking. That's mad.
There's been nights where we ride and we'll go to like the bike shack near Shoreditch.
I don't even know that. You know what? I'm not a peddler.
So the bike shack is literally like a motorbike club where you ride the motorbikes through the restaurant.
Oh, through the restaurant?
Yeah, park them up at the back. But then we ride bikes in there. We play music as well. You know.
But what are you? So do you do a specific area? You just ride and you just going around anywhere, and then when you run out, you just go back to the cargo and then just go back out again. And how long are you usually out for on a Friday or something?
Like day before yesterday, we didn't get home till 4:45 in the morning.
Seriously?
Oh wow!
Shit. What people are out? What is it? How's it go?
Sleeping rough don't wait for time.
That's mad. 4:45. That's where people who haven't got anywhere to go are really out.
Oh right.
That's who you're really finding. I'm seeing people outside King's Cross with a tracksuit on, yeah, and just laying there, curled up in a ball, and literally trying to put their hands down their trousers to keep some form of warmth.
Oh no, that's horrible, man.
I'm giving out sleeping bags and they're instantly getting inside them.
Straight away.
I'm giving out jackets, they're instantly putting them on.
Yeah.
In your cargo stuff that you got to hand out, is it mostly sleeping bags and things like that, or what is it?
Mostly sleeping bags and snackable stuff. Now, this is one important thing I want to bring up in this podcast is that majority of the time when people think about helping someone, it's always based on feeding them, which is perfect. I completely and utterly agree with it. But on the flip side of it, there's a smaller proportion of people that think about the aftermath of feeding someone. Are they warm? Are they able to brush their teeth with the sweets and stuff, with like the acid of the sweet and sour, not sweet and sour, but like fizzy sweets or whatever? Are they able to wash themselves? Are they able to have clean socks when they get wet outside? Those are all factors in. Entertainment, playing cards, puzzles, colouring books, radio so they can see what's going on in the world. Those factors aren't really brought in. So what my group's main purpose is to make sure they're supported in the aftercare of whatever life throws at them outside. Sewing kits. If you've got a tear in your jacket, do you really want to walk around with a torn jacket, or do you want the means to be able to sew that up yourself? You know, that's where I'm at. It's, you know, those factors aren't usually looked at. You know, torches, wind-up torches, a whistle, a survival bracelet. Those are the type of things that I'm on.
They're humans as well, though, right?
Exactly. So, you know, there's an element of them needing that. You know, think of us in our house. If electric goes, what can you do? There's nothing you can do if there's no electric gone. Some people don't even have to start a fire.
Basic, you know, things that survival skills. We're not ever really taught these things.
Exactly. So my crew, like today, might be cool. You can like bring up a picture on this as well. So today I made an Amazon wish list 2 days ago, basically asking for people if they would like to buy from an Amazon wish list. It will be delivered to me. And when you open the box, it has like a little message from like Karen, let's say, that will basically say, thanks for what you do type thing. And I'll be able to gift that to someone on your behalf. Because in there will be things like playing cards, waterproof ponchos, hand sanitizers, plasters. So you just go on the Amazon wish list and buy what you feel you'd love to give someone, but sometimes don't have the heart to do it because you're scared on the street going up to someone and saying, I want to give this to you, because you don't know how they're going to react. But you can do it through us on your behalf. So on the 20th of December, I'm having a mass ride where all my cyclists will come from across London. And what will happen is I'll have about 8 to 10 cargo bikes, and the cargo bikes will be filled like a pantry, and all those riders will be adjacent to a group number like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They're all basically going to hotspots within London in the north, east, south and west, And basically within that night, we'll cover the majority of London. By basically me sending my team out. Last year, I was in places like, let's say Tower Hamlets. I was getting phone calls from people who know me through Facebook and be like, oh, V, I see you in Islington. You don't see me in Islington. You see my crew in Islington. I'm not there tonight. That's how it works. It's mobilizing outreach, which is a beautiful thing, but making it movable. We're a moving outreach. We can cover, like I can get 25 to 30 miles an hour on my bike. And when we go to cut, we move, yeah? And it's like, it used to be an every week thing, but now it's come to a point where I get notifications from my phone and say to me, look, someone's underneath London Bridge with no shoes on, no socks, no jacket. Their jacket's wet. Someone stole their tent. Someone slashed their tent. And I'll ride out. Or if I don't ride out, one of my team will ride out. And that's the beautiful thing, you know? 2 people in each borough, 32 boroughs, all I needed was 64 people, 2 people in each borough, and I've covered the whole of London.
So that's what I was going to say. How big is your network?
Just under 700.
You got 700. Wait, is that all in London?
They're all over the place. Even when BBC aired, people have gone to the website and signed up as a cyclist.
Yeah. That's a big network you got going there. You started something big there, man.
Yes, massive.
That's growing mad, isn't it? What are you mentioned hotspots. So in your experience, what is the sort of worst affected spots in London, areas that for sleeping rough?
Oxford Street.
Is that they all sort of pile over there because it's a heavy footfall there and they're more likely to get
No, it's just the safest place to be.
Is it safer there though?
The majority of cameras and security they keep on the spot because it's a tourist location. They're safe.
But don't they get moved along a lot in Oxford? Also,
and if you've got like a mayoral election and they don't want tabloids or newspapers to see what's going on.
How many of these like homeless people in like Oxford? Because when I see Oxford, I'm not sorry, I don't mean to be strange, but when I go to Oxford Street and I see homeless people, it looks like they're on drugs and stuff. Is there a lot of like people on drugs that are homeless in Oxford Street?
Get onto that after though, because this is another big sort of area
so
with this.
This is where I go with it. If in lockdown we take drink driving offences where everyone's supposed to stay home, they were on like 33,000 drink driving offences in lockdown alone. Yeah? Now, antisocial behaviour from someone who was sleeping rough wasn't even 200.
Oh, really?
Yeah? So when you look at things, we actually cause more problems than someone who's rough sleeping.
Proportionate.
Now,
I guess,
on the flip side of that, either of you celebrate Christmas?
Of course. Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. How many times or how many Christmas events or birthday parties or whatever, christenings or whatever, have you had where one of your family members have got so pissed that they either have to sleep over or get a cab home because they can't drive?
Everyone's got that one family member, but we're talking about hip right now. We're talking about hip.
Yeah. Cool. So watch this. So here's the difference. You can hide your hangover, order a McDonald's in the morning, sober up and keep it moving. Yeah? Pop 2 paracetamols, get a cold shower, whatever. The difference between your alcohol consumption and a homeless person outside's alcohol consumption is you can hide it, he can't.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's a very good point.
And on the flip side, with him not being able to hold it outside, he now looks like the worst person in society. But really and truly, he's no different from us. He didn't do anything wrong, but have a good time last night. And he's rightful to have a good time because it's the only way he can have a good time sometimes. When you go back to watching Westerns, alcohol flasks are for what? When you go camping and you're in the wilderness and it's cold, you have a touch of whiskey and you feel warm inside, no? So why is it someone who drinks whiskey outside is deemed as a scum of the earth when whiskey flasks were created for that one factor?
You've certainly made me look at things from a different perspective. This is like, I think about the 5th or 6th time in this podcast, I'm like, you know what? Fuck me, I've never really looked at it like that. Yeah. So
Guinness is a multi-billion pound company. Homeless people don't sustain that to be a multi-billion pound company. That comes from working class people.
Of course.
Or high class people.
Yeah.
Same with drugs. Drug dealers do not drive big fancy cars and big chains from
homeless people.
They get that lifestyle from people that can afford the drugs. Yeah. On the flip side again, if I gave you 2 Instagram posts, a CEO of a company in a penthouse and girls who have hardly any clothes on and lines of crack in front of him, as an image, the lads would say, that guy's made it. Yeah? Go down his page, he's got a Lamborghini, that guy's made it. Take him out of those clothes and put him outside Oxford Street. The same person in raggedy clothes with a crack pipe. Oh my God. What's this person? He's a scum of society. Why? Because his visuals don't fit it.
Well, as well though, it like drug habits, like they kind of lead to crime. And like I'm saying, so you're doing that description of the guy with the money. The guy with the money can afford the drug habit, but if you've got a drug habit and you can't afford it, then you're going to do madness to get the money, no?
Yeah, but on the flip side of that is with someone who can, the whole point I was making with that is that it's based on image and perception, because you forced yourself to have a story. If someone walks towards you and they say to you, oh, have you got some change, please? You look at their body language, you look at them as an individual, and you say to yourself, nah, you're wasting my time, because you've painted that story. What I'm trying to say is, how can it be okay for one person, but not okay for another person, when they're both doing exactly the same thing? It doesn't make any sense. If someone stole a sandwich and the other person stole the sandwich, why? Because the way they're dressed is one acceptable and one's not.
I suppose one feels like it's hurting society and one feels like it isn't.
But
like,
the flip side is, if you looked at 2 Instagram posts, you'll have one who's the high flyer who will get millions of likes and it will be accepted. But this person, it won't be accepted because the visual representation of what they're seeing isn't fair. It's not fair for one to be judged and one to be uplifted. It's wild to me.
He's thinking about it.
I'm thinking about.
You're 100% right. You've caught me like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, they're people as well, man. They're people as well.
Yeah, but I suppose in our society, yeah, like I suppose we expect when we're paying taxes for people to like. Not even that. That's different. Yeah, I just want in society people to have priorities in it. Like, if you want to do drugs, yeah, at least sort your yard out first, and then do the drugs and stuff like that.
But okay, so this is the thing.
It's like, I get what you're saying, that if you are homeless, then you have to do that. But surely you shouldn't be doing drugs. Then if you should try and get something going first.
Okay, but watch this. So when we look at that situation with a portion of people who are homeless who have drugs, because not all of them do.
Yeah, of course.
We have to ask ourselves how they're obtaining it. It doesn't mean they're paying for it. It just means possibly a drug dealer in that area is forcing drugs on them and giving them their fix while they actually go out and actually commit those drops.
Sending them to work.
Sending them to work. You don't know how they're obtaining it.
Yeah.
We don't know that. That's the whole point. You know, they could be caught on something because it takes the pain away. They could be caught on something because they made a mistake in their family and they can't face going back, but they don't know how to fix it, and now they're stuck on the street. That's the whole problem. Yeah. The whole problem is that they're caught in a cycle and there's no one to take them out. And do you know why? Because the people that can take them out of that problem are so stuck up with their mindset of that you're doing bad, I don't want nothing to do with you. They haven't even had the time to say to you, do you know what? Why do you take drugs? There's never a question. That person can turn and say, well, do you know what? The reason why is because I had a baby and at birth my baby passed away and I couldn't mentally get out of it. And I lost my husband at the same time because he thought it was my pregnancy why that baby got lost. It could be I lost my job. It could be my wife left me and she took the kids with her.
Yeah, good.
And we're all guilty of
Things
this.
will break you in so many different ways if you don't wake up and see what other people are going through. Because if you don't hear the stories and it happens to you, you will think that it's only your world that's happened to you. I know plenty of people who have been perfect. Plenty of people who have lived life perfectly. And all of a sudden they've got the wrong person pregnant and they're stuck in a cycle and they're miserable and they don't know what to do with themselves, because that mental state of having a newborn baby or a child in between a toxic relationship is holding you grip. And if you're not headstrong, you will end up in a worse and worse situation year in, year out.
Yeah. No, that does make a lot of sense, man. Damn. You know what? It's making me think as well, yeah. Like,
we're guilty.
You know what's funny? When I started, he said to me he was going to be the joke one day. I've had no jokes from him. It's just literally...
It's been a wake up. I'm not even going to lie.
This is a dumb one. I said not the joke one, a dumb one. But what I will say is, though, like, you've made me realize... You told me this thing... You said that thing where you say you just give you don't even want to think about it too tough. But when you give all these examples of the situation, it makes me think like, yeah, maybe I should just stop thinking about it so much and just give like, sometimes I think about it. I might be at traffic lights and see someone and go, nah, they're just doing something mad. But then I shouldn't really just overthink it.
Yeah,
It's just, sometimes I just want to give it to them, but I think, nah, they're probably trying to scam me.
And the easiest thing is, we're not storytellers. If we imagine the amount of people that come up to us, there's no coincidence why people meet, you know. There's no coincidence why people meet. And this is the thing, we're in this thing of, if someone can't do something for me, you don't want to have them around. But as an example, I've met you today. You know I'm a graphics designer. You don't need a graphics designer now. But in 10 years' time, what's that guy's name again? Because you didn't take interest in that precise time because you didn't think you needed him. Your phone book is supposed to be a network that when things go wrong, whether it be a leak in the house or whatever, you can pick up your phone and you can phone someone. You've met plumbers in the past, but when you need a plumber, you're searching for one. This is your greatest tool. It's supposed to be something you go back to if something's gone wrong. It's not meant to have a bag of friends that you get on with. It's supposed to help be your lifeline in emergencies. You're not supposed to have problems. Problems are supposed to be resolved.
Yeah. The gym is probably the best thing for that.
Exactly.
You know, in the gym here, we have everything. You know, we've got plumbers, builders, mechanics, solicitors, judges, policemen.
Exactly.
Everything you can imagine.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Supposed to have a network.
That's true.
You know what, though? If anyone watching this isn't able to sort of like sit there and think right now, you know what? I'm guilty of this or I'm guilty, whatever. I think, I don't even want to say sort of negative things, but it's just like people just need to sort of maybe open their heart. You know, like what we talk about with the whole ayahuasca stuff and whatever. This has almost been like a little experience for me. I've been able to see things now from different perspectives. And like, I think that's what a lot of people are guilty of. They're so like tunnel visioned and not able to look at things from different perspectives. And people.
And I think my perspective with this whole thing, I'm someone that had mad social anxiety. Even this conversation, even me doing this now, if I looked at myself years ago, not a chance, you know. But
probably the same with him. Like when we first started.
I'm kind of all right with it, but I just don't particularly want to do it. But I get what you're saying, though.
My social anxiety was mad. I used to go to work, go home, straight to bed. My wife ain't seeing me, my kids ain't seeing me. I'm done.
What do you mean? Why? Because you got batteries dead, you mean?
No, just like the anxiety of just living life on a daily basis, of all the things that you need to conform to do for life to work for you, was way too much for me.
Yeah.
You know, in this country, if you don't do anything by 5 o'clock, the day's done. Why? You go somewhere like
business
Dubai.
hours, isn't it? Business hours.
But somewhere like Dubai, it's 12 o'clock for a mall. Yeah.
What?
The mall's closed at 12 o'clock at night.
Oh, really? Oh,
so why are we rushing? Everything's a rush. If a bus driver don't turn up in the morning to work, that's 100 to 200 people that ain't going to work on time. And then they all have capacity jobs that mess something else up. If your sweet shop decides to open late and you can't get an Oyster card from that one sweet shop, you've now got to walk to Wood Green High Road, you're now late. Everyone's actions have a repercussion. But in the country like this, it doesn't have time for a repercussion because that's why everyone's bloody miserable. And everything's a rush. Everything is a rush.
Yeah.
There's not a time you ain't rushing.
Everyone's on a schedule.
And that's the issue. The issue is this whole schedule thing. Yeah. You're doing your timetable Monday to Sunday every week. Washing the kids' clothes Sunday, getting them ready for Monday, homework Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, shopping, ain't got milk in the house. Over and over again, people are sick of it. And unless you kind of say, hang on a minute, this ain't how I want to live my life. I'm going to stop going to buy milk every so often. I'm going to buy a batch of milk now. Those are the changes you need to make. The micro changes that allow your week to feel different. The only time some people feel happy with themselves when they got a holiday to look forward to. There's a massive change in your character when you've pre-booked a holiday, knowing that you don't have to deal with this you only have to deal with it for a certain period of time because you're going away. There's a massive difference. You can be someone that goes to work for 2 weeks and be done with it. As soon as you've booked a holiday, even if it's somewhere small, your whole atmosphere, your whole vibes change towards your workplace. Yeah, going on holiday.
What's the answer to this though? Like, what do you mean? Like, what? How do you?
It's internal,
like, that's part
bro.
of your.
I think
no,
it's
but that's
internal.
part of life, isn't it? Like, life is about
No,
working.
that's the system. You've been
That is not life.
institutionalized.
No. But I mean, like, to get money to do the things you want to do. Well, freedom behind life here is money,
everyone has been
and you need money. The only way you can get money is by working. So what do you do? What's the answer?
No. This is the whole point. The whole point is we're programmed to chase the new thing of everything. Whether it be the new iPhone, whether it be
Consumerism.
the new anything, yeah? But we're not programmed to be self-sufficient or to deal with problems or go against certain things we don't believe in. There's a massive difference, bro. And that's the thing. If I turn around and I decided I was happy with how rough sleep... Bro, we haven't had a rough sleeper protest since 1972. And it was in Glasgow.
Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah? So in theory, if you turn around and you say... I'll give you an example. When you have kids, you play a little game with them back in the day, you'd be like, oh, how many red cars do you see? And they'll be like, oh, daddy, I saw 7. Guaranteed after this podcast, or anyone who watches this now, and I say to you as a challenge, how many homeless people do you see on the way home? You'll count today, you'll count tomorrow, you count the day after, you count for all a week. And now, because you're now aware of them.
Yeah.
If you don't make people aware of the problems you've got on a daily basis, you can work to your death. But you're never going to be happy because you're not letting anyone aware of what you're unhappy with. There's friends you put up with on a daily basis that annoy the hell out of you. Why are you putting up with them? There's family members that also annoy you. Why are you putting up with them? Because at the end of the day, your happiness and your mental health is more valuable than their opinion or how they see you. But you're conditioned to make everyone happy. Why?
Well, I don't. I don't.
Why?
But I get what you're saying. I get the average person definitely is doing that.
Conforming.
Like, yeah, conforming. And that's a...
You got to break the mold. Because if you don't break the mold, it's like, you know, if my grandma didn't decide to come from Jamaica, I would still be born in Jamaica.
But if everyone breaks the mold, though, that's the thing. If everyone breaks the mold, then there is no society, isn't it? We need kind of the people in the mold for society to operate.
No, man.
Yeah, I think some people can break the mold, and if you've got the mental capacity to break out, then break out. But if you don't and you feel comfortable work, some people love working.
Okay, but then you'd actually have more of a striving country. If people broke the mold, you'd have a more striving country.
No, because then no one would have money and everyone would be just selling things. Like, how would it work?
You know, I talk about this stuff all the time.
If everyone...
This is the shit now. Like, I've been talking about this ever since we've known each other, yeah? There is more to life than the whole system and the cog in it. You know, you're born, you have your birth certificate, you join, you start school, you know, they get you even the register. Yes, sir, I'm here. You learn the things they want you to learn because all they're doing is preparing you to join the workforce, to pay taxes, and you're cog in the system.
Some people like that. Some people love that.
See Russia, yeah? Go and tell them any nonsense about something they don't believe in as a nation. You see how quick they come outside. If they don't agree with something, they're on the road. Over here, if they don't agree with something, it's Facebook. Facebook deletes the comments as soon as it goes up. That's what I'm talking about. There's no element of activism within the people. Because you're taught to... Okay, I look at things that... So I'm a graphics designer, yeah? So there used to be an artist called Roy Lichtenstein, yeah? Roy Lichtenstein is a pop art artist, which basically means that he took popular items like a can of Campbell's or... Naomi Campbell and made a colorization of them in 4 different prints, and that was his popular art. So he was famous from making popular art from doing that.
That was the style, right? Pop art movement. Yeah. Now, I believe that countries like this also do pop art, but do pop art in the perspective of what the agenda is at that moment in time, what's popular. People don't really care about nothing. If Twitter is talking about a war, all of a sudden everyone's popular because it's popular, everyone's talking about the war,
the latest trend.
That's the whole thing. That is not that is a country that just consumes problems and outwards problems because they feel like it's the right thing to do. On the backbone of that, things like homelessness is never a popular topic, it's never trending. Things like all these different facets of things that come through don't ever get trending, and they're everyday problems. No one ain't complaining that a can of beans or Heinz ketchup is now £7. No one's complaining that they go to buy meat in their local supermarket and they've now got security tags on them. No one's complaining that Andrex toilet paper or toilet paper in general has got smaller.
Yeah. Who do you complain to though about these things? Where do you complain? Like, so say, because I am bothered about that toilet paper thing. Where do I complain? Who would you actually complain to about that?
Voice it.
Voice it where? On like Instagram, you mean, or something like that?
Wherever.
Oh, okay.
And you start to see
people definitely do that though. No, it's happening. Right?
Yeah, but it's almost comical. There's no element of, I think this should change.
But how far does it go anyway? Because I mean, people write a few comments and then that's it. But where does that go? It's just people voicing their opinions about it.
I can quote you on many, successful campaigns like that. For example, here's one. I think it happened about
Farron's one. He saw a problem, and he's gone to the point where he's stayed consistent with something, and it's now a spoke about topic. Homelessness. We wouldn't be having a podcast about homelessness unless I didn't consistently talk about this being a problem. A lot of people aren't consistent with it. You'll complain about whatever your problem is on Monday. Come Friday, FIFA's come out. You got the boys around. You're done with that problem.
Yeah, I get your point.
If you're not consistent with an issue you have, you're going to make no changes because no one else cares about it like that. When you start forcing a problem and they come to your page and they start following your page and you're consistently hammering how bad shit is and how things need to be fixed, then people are like, do you know what? This guy's on smash. I actually agree with him.
So in my case, I'll just go into Tesco's and just chat shit about all the stuff that pisses me off in Tesco's, why it's gone up in price.
But why
and
not?
that's bringing awareness to inflation and all sorts of shit, innit? Yeah, that's a good point. No,
people will
I was
look at
giving
that
an
and
example
say,
for the viewers.
People will look at that and say, do you know what? This guy's about it.
Yeah, that's good. Man.
Honey,
That's good stuff.
£7.
Yeah.
£14 for
What supermarket are you going to?
Nah. Go Sainsbury's just around there, Crouch End. You'll see.
Honey soup for £7.
Yeah.
You said tomato ketchup is £6.
If not more.
I get the Sainsbury's brand anyway. I don't even care. It's the same stuff.
I know, but listen, going back to my example,
Same stuff.
It is. I swear down. It's the same. They perfected it. They did it. They got
look, here's an amazing example, and I'm not going to say which country this happened in, but everyone in this country consumes cottage cheese. You know what cottage cheese is, right? And it's a very popular dish there. Some people may know exactly what I'm about to say, but the prices went from, I think it started, I don't know, I won't say the currency, £1, and then it went up to £2, £3, and everyone got upset about this. And then one person started by making a Facebook group. The Facebook group got really popular. Then everyone decided, right, this isn't working online. We all need to come out together. So they all got out together. They really started protesting. The prices had to come down in the end. They won. They got the prices of cottage cheese down. But they didn't stop there. Everyone was then together, and they used this momentum to basically target other areas like increased rents and lots of other issues. The government of this country then were forced to basically introduce new legislation to bring rents down. This is what I'm talking about.
From cottage cheeses,
It started from cottage cheese, but it was the simple cottage cheese.
And the premise is no different between cottage cheese being inflated in price and rent being inflated in price. There's no difference. It's just a smaller object.
Yeah. Does anyone out there know which country I was talking about?
I know what country you're talking about.
This is why I didn't want to say it, because it's just such a fucked up country right now. Oh my God.
I don't know actually. No. Now that you said that, I don't know.
No,
I don't. What?
Go on. What country did you think it was?
Greece.
No, man.
Yeah, I guess they do. Do you know why I said that? Do you know why I said that? Because I thought it was the only country that you was going to say. So I just assumed that it was going to be that one. But what country is it?
It's Israel.
Oh, it's Israel.
Israel, yeah.
Did you know
this
that?
happened about 20 years ago, something like that. Yeah, they did really well protesting against the issue. But yeah, we won't start talking about, because there's too much. This is too much at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's too much.
Unless you want to.
Nah, I'm good. But for me, it is fundamental that if you have an issue, you have enough drive in you to stay consistent with that issue, because that's where changes happen.
Yeah, no, that's a good.
If you're not consistent with those changes, it means you didn't really care.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, sometimes we think about our lives, our own personal lives, and we do the 9 to 5, whatever. But we're not aware that family members or nieces or nephews are actually watching you. That's actually giving them drive. You're inspiring them from the way you move. When you turn up at family events and you conduct yourself a certain way, there's always an auntie and uncle that will favour you and say, you know what, you've done really well, you're doing good. Because your life means something to someone else. But we're so oppressed sometimes that we look at social media, we don't see the likes, we don't see the posts and we don't see people interacting with us. But you don't understand that you're actually an inspiration to people, regardless of your following or whatever you've got on a social capacity. And you know, I have family members I look up to, like my auntie Marsha and Uncle Derek. They've been together for years, solid relationship. I've looked at them as a younger couple, being with my wife coming up 15 and being married 10 next year. I say to myself, if they can do it, I can do it. Because that's my inspiration, because I've seen it done.
Yeah.
And you mean something, you know, you might be to yours where you're a business owner and they look up to you and say, do you know what uncle did, blah, blah, or my brother did, blah, blah, or they look at you with the lockdown situation and be like, you know, nationwide, they look at him and say, oh, do you know what? That is the element of activism, because you're standing for something you don't believe in, but you're staying consistent with it. If you fold, everyone else folds, because you've taken leadership on a problem. And that's the whole point. Even though something might be marginally small, whether it be toilet paper, whether it be ketchup, whether it be honey, whatever you choose to do, if you stay consistent with it, that's how changes are made. If you don't make change, if you don't have enough change across the nation, that's why we end up being a nation that fold all the time when new rules come in, because no one wants to talk. That's the whole point.
And I have to add to that, your intentions have to be genuine as well.
Exactly.
Because there's so many people now, like we was talking about the trending or whatever, their intentions weren't there from the beginning or whatever. Like, you know, and an
They weren't
element
really
to
about
that,
it. They weren't about it.
Yeah, they weren't about it. And an element to that as well is you can't care about your image or your look or whatever if your intentions are genuine. Like, if your intentions are genuine, you won't give a fuck what you look like or, you know, whatever. You know, you're just going to be your true self and do it, innit? Like,
Exactly.
And then when you do that, people will know your intentions are genuine. They'll see it, and then they'll actually feel it more.
Yeah.
They'll
Do you know what
that
someone said to me?
energy is like...
Someone said to me that, you know, what I do is not new. People have been feeding and helping people for years, centuries. Yeah, even down from biblical times, it's been happening. Yeah. But the community and people in society will choose who their champion of that problem and that cause will be.
Yeah.
They will choose it. There are people who have had food banks, food outreaches and stuff way before my time. Even some that started way before me, some that started at the same time as me, some that start after me. But they will choose who the figurehead of any of these problems that we're facing.
Well, isn't it just the person who's most consistent, like you're saying, though? So, no. You reckon the people would choose regardless?
They do choose 100%. You know,
It's usually, and it's sad to say, it's usually just like a popularity thing, or a, you know, like for example, like with what your brother Farron does. You know, look, we've got Idris Elba. He's a big, you know, famous Hollywood A-lister or whatever. He seems to be the face of it right now, but he's, in my opinion, not really done fuck all to, you know, help the issue. You know, he does a few media appearances, a few this and that, but what's he actually done? You know, the time and day to day.
Yeah, well, I can't obviously answer on that because I don't know myself. But you know, what I will say is, Farron's very clever, and he would never ever have that type of situation happen around him. So for me, at the end of the day, this is what you technically class as a patriot. You know, there will be some people that come and go who are not about it, and time will always tell.
Yeah,
you know,
that's one thing that is 100.
That's what it is. Time will always tell. You know, you don't know.
You'll find out who's genuine and who's
you don't know.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, it's neither here or there. I've had people that will hit me up and say, "Oh, I want to help," but when it comes down to it, and I've said, "Boom, we'll meet at 9 o'clock," nowhere to be seen. Can't even find them on the social media handle they had.
Yeah.
So again, yes, it is consistency, but at the same time, when I say people can choose who their person is going to be to activize something, it's because they see something in you and they know that you're about it. There's no thing of like posting on Monday about homelessness. Come Friday, you're talking about Arsenal versus Tottenham. No. I want to help people Monday to Sunday, however long it takes. And it's not about the losing vision of what I'm trying to do. At the end of the day, I know I can't end homelessness. I know I can't. It's not possible for me to end homelessness.
Brother, I would disagree with
no,
you
but
there.
what I
You see,
can
what
do-
you started might end homelessness.
I know, but what I can do is I can turn on. I can definitely say to you that I can force the conversations to happen. I can force society to wake up and say that, do you know what, this is actually wrong. Like I've had a conversation with both of you today. You will leave the podcast even better human beings because your thought process in terms of helping people will be completely different perspective than what you came out with. And that's my whole point. If I can infectiously give these points to people and they think different, I've now got 2 allies now. Just like I started, I had 12 allies. I've now got just under 700. I've now got, let's say, collectively just under like 25,000 allies now who all appreciate what I do and say, because it's now infectious, because the things I say to you, I'm making short little snippets and people be like, hang on, he's right. 0% interest is allowing me to go and buy a fridge freezer when my fridge freezer is broken down and not have to worry about paying it. I can still keep all my stuff at home. My life isn't going to change because I'm now paying £25 towards a fridge freezer a month. It's not hitting me hard, but I'm obtaining something brand new, which I can even show off online and say, look, I bought a new fridge freezer. Imagine being in a situation where your fridge freezer is broken down. It's full of all the kids' stuff like chips and nuggets and stuff. But you've gone to Argos, tried to get credit to so all your food's gone now in your freezer because it's broken down, it's leaking. You've got a wet floor, all the floorboards have lifted up. You can't get a new fridge freezer now because you can't even got the credit for it. What do you do now? Because you're now out of food. You don't have a fridge freezer. So your meals are not cheap anymore because you're having to eat out all the time. You've got nowhere to keep things cold. That's what I mean about, that's just one handout situation. Another handout situation is you didn't put insurance on your TV and your kid didn't listen and kicked a ball into the TV and the TV dropped off and smashed.
This is starting to sound like my house.
You've now got no TV because you didn't factor in having to spend £900 for that month. So you've gone to replace the TV. Argos said to you, no, you're now having to go on Facebook Marketplace to see if you can buy one of them big back TVs for like 25 quid because you can only afford that. You put that in your house and you don't want people to come around no more because you got a big TV. Then what?
Life can hit you from so many different angles, so many different ways that you never know what that person sitting outside Tesco with a blanket over them has gone through you.
Yeah, man.
I've
That's
no fucking clue.
definitely changed for me.
This is what I'm saying. You got to really, really just not do that judging thing, man.
Yes, that's what I've taken from this. Like, I'm not judging no more. I
can't judge it,
because I
man.
always feel like giving, like I said, and now I'm just gonna give.
I'll be honest. You know, like when I used to go and give the meals out.
It's okay. Watch this. Let me just drop something quick here. So you know the term conscious, yeah? Your conscience.
Yeah.
All right. Watch this. A kid goes to a sweet shop and steals some penny sweets, yeah, and a lollipop. His conscience, when he leaves the shop, tells him that he shouldn't have done that, yeah? That voice he heard isn't just this random hearing. The voices of his grandma, his mum, telling him that what he's doing is wrong because his moral compass has been taught to him by his parents and his guardians. When you go up to someone and you have that element of wanting to give to them, that is you having a social consciousness in yourself, knowing that what you're about to do is the right thing. Yeah, because you've been taught, you've had a good upbringing, you know about blessing and helping people. You've heard stories many times about how to help people from your elders in your own family, in your own community, yeah? You've had a good upbringing, yeah? That element of when you tell yourself no and you give yourself a story, that's a taught thing. You've taught yourself to mask a story to someone because it blocks you having it enough to be selfish.
Got stung enough times to not give just willingly. That's the thing that we were talking about before.
When you say stung, what do you mean?
Like giving someone and they just take the piss and don't pay you back or something like that. Or someone just, maybe they're going to go out and just maybe they're just saving up to buy something that I want. That's a stupid example.
No,
but do you know what I'm saying?
I get you. So watch this, yeah? Because you get people you lend money to and you go around their yard, they've just got bed and you say,
exactly.
hang on a minute, you owe me, blah, blah, blah. Boom.
And then you have to ask to borrow back your thing. Can I borrow back money?
But at the same time, sometimes we are very tunnel vision in the way we think. And I tell you what I mean by that. If you lend someone £100, yeah, and they don't give you the £100, and then 2 months later, you get a pay increase at work. Sometimes those things correlate with each other. Because we're so tunnel vision on this person owes £100, we haven't looked at all of our other blessings. My personal life, a bike, let's say, just under $4,000, supported people, someone sent over, that erases anything that someone had owed me. But because my moral compass is telling me someone violated me because they owe me this money, they haven't paid it back, I can't let it go. And then I end up getting bitter. But really and truly, I've been given tenfold over this side for a good deed I did by just allowing him to not have that stress.
I learned this, what you're talking about, years ago. I do not lend anyone a penny. But if someone comes to me and I can genuinely see, it could be a family member, whatever it is, they need some money, I'm like, here, take the money. You don't owe me it, it's yours. I'd rather just give it to you and let that go, because you're holding bad energy. When you borrow or this and that, you think, no, that motherfucker owes me $1,000, he owes me 50. It's bad energy, man. I'm
going to talk to you after this podcast about that. Like,
it wants
we need some money, Virgin.
I can say no.
But that doesn't make sense then. Your point.
No, because the thing is, this is the thing.
It's just the point of energy,
It's an energy thing. Listen, I'll be honest with you.
Protect your energy.
There's been situations where this happened to me once and it felt so crazy. I've seen an individual and I've parked up my car. I've gone in the back of my car, I've taken out everything. I walked across the road. I'm across the road from the person. And I got to the edge of the pavement and I just froze. It's like I couldn't move across the road. And I've gone back to my van and I don't know what it was. Something just wouldn't let me go over there.
That's extreme instincts and awareness. It was just an energy thing. Yeah.
Sometimes I do come across that thing
intuition.
Where, like the other night we were riding and we saw a group of people who needed some support. Now with me, I always observe settings because you don't want to go over there and you bring a problem to yourself, because we're parking up expensive bikes, we're parking up stuff, we don't know what we're going into. Sometimes we're going into areas that we've never been in. Imagine lockdown where everything's shut down and I'm walking around with a duffel bag, like a sports bag, long trench night jacket, PPE mask, blacked out clothes, blacked out car, and I'm driving into people's estates looking for people and going to the boys on the block and saying, boom, have you seen anyone in your area that's homeless? There's no fear factor, but sometimes when you're bringing other people into those things, you don't know. So, like the other day, we've gone and observed, and I'm looking, and my boys are ready to cross the road, and I'm saying, no, don't go yet. And I'm looking, and there's someone that's come at the tent, but the way they're moving across the road and walking up and down, they're obviously troubled by something. It's a mental health situation. Now, as soon as I said, go, as soon as they walked across the road, that person came back and I said, you don't come back. They came back. By the time they came back onto the other side of the road, this individual started shouting and swearing for no reason, but just to shout and swear because they were angry about something at the time. Someone had annoyed them. And it was an energy thing. I knew that it wasn't safe to go. And you pick up those energies because at the same time, there's something that motivates you to do something, isn't there?
Yeah.
Whether it's health or fitness or whatever, there's an inner energy that will either make you be lazy towards something in the morning or energetic towards something in the morning. Negative, positive, all the time, in any aspect you deal with. So where I have a positive movement every time I go out, as soon as I feel something negative and I'm not conducting from it, it goes left. And I decide I'm not going to do this. If we all have electricity in us, if I do something good to you, where does your electric good energy go? It must come back to me. It's a cycle and it's a complete filling up all the time. That's why I don't have anxiety no more. That is my medication. Helping people is my medication. I was on a path of having to maybe get pills to stop my anxiety, but I don't have to do that no more because medication is looking after people.
Yeah, that's good, man. Just internally healed yourself.
That was a little gem right
there.
Yeah,
that was a gem.
You know what? Giving is so rewarding to your soul. Like, and that's what I've learned in my later years, not in my earlier years for sure. Like when you give, you genuinely get like some warm feeling inside. Taking, doing things all for yourself,
being
selfishness. You don't realize that it kind of really messes up your energy inside, man.
100%. Yeah. Because you have no space for growth. Because you've become a toxic person. all you wake up in the mornings to do is take from people. Imagine okay, on paper, in lockdown, what I was doing was crazy. When you sit down and you think about it, like when I think about it, or someone says to me, you actually were a madman, you know, you're jumping, whether you believe it or not, out every single day when you're told and basically you're scared into staying home in a sense, yeah? So you go out continuously, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, no time, you're out, every area. I'm going to people who know nothing about COVID because they would never had no TV to watch or no radio to listen. I met one guy who didn't even know what COVID was. He's like, why is everyone wearing masks?
That's mad.
You know what? I rate that guy. He distances himself from all the madness
to
in the
being
world.
homeless, he had no way of having information because everyone stopped talking to him. No one was smiling at him because everyone was buying masks. Now, we're taught to be nice to our managers, be nice to people so we can get somewhere better in life, get a little promotion, get a little bonus, yeah? But imagine putting a pause on that and saying, do you know what? I'm going to work my 9 to 5, but outside work, I'm going to go and help some people. That is ethically away from anything you are taught to do because it's not benefiting you. All it's doing is helping other people. No one is programmed to do that. Yeah, we're not programmed to go and do a 9 to 5, go home, get dressed, and go down to somewhere and help someone. We're not programmed to do that.
We weren't taught to do that. We weren't institutionalized in school.
It would have had no benefit for me. If you think about it, you go to work a 9 to 5, you're tired, you come home, you chill with the kids, you do the homework with them, you have dinner, but instead of going to bed, you jump on a bike or jump in your car and drive to somewhere that someone told you in lockdown to help someone. Who was that helping in the grand scheme of things? So by pausing my own life has actually allowed me to be stronger as an individual because I did the complete opposite what I was taught to do. I was taught to be conditioned and try to excel in my career and go and do more courses and uplift myself. But when I took a pause and turned around, instead of trying to go up the ladder and went back down to the bottom to carry some people on my back to come up to where I was, my whole life changed.
Yeah, that's mad.
Just by going, like you got the game of Snake. So I'm on like number 88 with income and I decide to jump on the snake's head and go down the bottom to grab all the people from 1 to 10 to bring them back up with me.
Yeah. I use that analogy a little bit as well, That's a I thought I made that up. But yeah, using the snake, you went down a snake to get to a bigger ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good, man. It's good shit.
That's a good analogy there, yeah. How often do you do these bike rides, by the way?
So the bike rides used to be weekly on a Thursday.
Yeah.
But now it's got to a point where the notifications are so mad.
It's just ad hoc whenever.
Yeah. It's literally like, do you know what? This needs to be done. It's mad. Today I had, so after that aired yesterday with the BBC, I had a...
big influx of people interested.
Big influx of people interested. But I've had one family member trying to find someone else. I've had another 2 family members trying to find their nephew. There's an influx of that situation happening. But there's also an influx of people who do the work I do, but on like a street patrol thing where they walk up and down with outreach and they support people. But I think I know what my task is. I think my task with this whole thing is to continue to bring awareness and force this to be a problem. Because it is a problem.
Of course it's a problem.
It's a massive problem, but it's a massive problem because no one wants to deal with it.
That's what the problem is. In my eyes, it's not the poverty that's the problem. The problem is their attitude towards it, that they don't care. And that can just be us as, normal members of public or the government or the local council. It's just nobody genuinely cares.
I'm going to give you a gem, yeah? And I hope you edit this and keep this as one clip.
You know what? Save this because at the end of how long is this gem?
It's a quick one.
Save it for the end.
It's not quick. It comes with something.
Yeah, no. Say because at the end I always ask for your punchline, your gem, your whatever. Save it for the end if you don't mind.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. But or you can do it now. It's up to you.
It's calm. But it's one of the things that you sit and you say to yourself, like, so many people, someone will watch like they did them stupid programs on like Channel 4 or something where they turn and say, they put all these people on benefits in one house, or they swap people on benefits with people that have a good income, and they swap places and see how they live life or whatever.
I've never even. I don't even watch TV.
What's it called? Is it called wife swap or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, where they swap people who have like loads of money. They put people who don't have lots of money into their lifestyle with their budget, and they put people who have loads of money into their budget of like £50 for the week. And you have this family who are rich complaining about like, what is this food? Or you have these people like, oh my God, we're having caviar for breakfast and that type of stuff. So what it is that, it's, I don't know, man. It's almost like a tier system of like lower class, middle class, higher class. But there's no tier system no more. Working middle class and lower class, there's not a massive difference between the two,
There's been a shift in classes over the last, I'd say 5-10 years.
It's wild.
There's been a shift.
It's wild. So for me, it's like, where I am now, and I see so many different situations happening, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm scared, because where is it going? It's going to get worse. And this is the craziest part, which kind of leads me on, and I'll tell you like this now. And it's how I have to tell you what it is. When we go to family functions, when we go to like a grandma's house or whatever for Sunday dinner or whatever, all the family meet around there, you sit around the table and you're having a good time. But when these programs come on about universal credit or whatever, there's always this family member that will sit there and be like, damn, like, this need to go to work, man. Pure nonsense. Boom, boom, boom. But what you didn't know is the niece that you say you loved the most has just left her house from seeing an eviction notice for her house, and she was going to ask you at that family function if you could help her, but because your tongue was so bad towards people that don't have nothing, and you talk so badly about people, she will never ask you again. And then her life starts to twist upside down, because now she knows she can't talk to uncle about it.
I was going to say a joke there. I wish some of my family members were like that. No, but go on.
So because uncle's tongue's so bad, you've now caused so much turmoil with that family member that you said you loved just because of your tone. We all have to be careful of our tone, because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. If I came here today and I turned and said to you, I don't believe in helping people, you will go home and you'd be like, raw, do you know what? After the podcast was finished, I was going to talk to my friend and say to him, like, could he lend me like £50 until payday and so I could put some gas electric in? But because you said something, you've completely crippled him from ever asking you for help, because he's found your perspective on how you see things. And that's the most alarming thing that people do on a daily basis to family members they say they love. They cripple them. That's why you turn and say to yourself, why didn't you ask me for help? Because 7 months ago, you said that when we were walking down to Tesco's, you said that person is a waste of time. Why doesn't he go and find a job? And I thought you would have said that to me. That's why I didn't ask you for help, uncle. I didn't ask you for help, my brother, because you spoke the way you did.
Yes. I'll tell you one thing you've inspired me to do is I'm going to come on one of your bike rides. I don't actually own a bike, so I'm going to have to get a bike and I'm going to come on one of your bike rides.
Are you going to get a bike for me? Buy one?
I'm going to have to buy one. I don't know. I'll find a bike.
Lion.
It could even be a Lion bike.
It's a Lion bike on the 20th of December. They're giving me codes for people to have.
Oh, serious?
Yes, if they're not riding, I can generate a code and you can come and ride that.
And I am a man of my word. I'm not one of the friends that you said, I'm going to come. And then,
do you know what? I'll come on the same day that you go.
All right.
On the 20th of December.
Is that when you're going?
Yeah.
Is that when he's going?
No, I was just going to come on a random one. As soon as I get a bike. Man. I was going to shout you. I was going to come on. I want to do this bike thing at least once. Anyway.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. Like,
sounds fun, man.
I remember my first ride. Was
that in lockdown?
Yeah. I remember going out for the ride, and literally there's no cars, there's no taxis, there's no aeroplanes, there's nothing.
At the streets all to yourself.
Nothing fun. Yeah. My boys are doing wheelies in the middle of the road. There's wildlife that's coming back into London. That we're seeing pictures like peacocks back in towns and stuff all over.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I remember riding.
Flocks of budgies for like,
Exactly.
yeah, budgies.
I remember
like,
riding down Embankment and coming up to a tent. And when I went up to the tent, I said to the tent, you know, is anyone in there? Because I see some movement going on. And the zip went up, and this lady popped her head out, and she goes to me, "You all right? Can I help you?" And I said, like, "No, can I help you?" She's like, "Oh, how come you're out?" I said, "Oh, I've come to help people who need some support." She goes, "Oh, with what?" So I said, "You know, I've got food stuff with me and, you know, warm clothes and whatnot." I was like, "Oh, this is amazing," because no one's come into contact with us. Everyone's off the streets. We're outside by ourselves. There's no foot traffic. There's no one to ask for help. Anyway, I gave her some food. Morrison to put some stuff together for us. When we're giving her the food, she takes the food out of my hand and her hands are shaking like this. And I've gone to her, "Are you cold?" And she's like, "Yeah." So obviously, mum being Caribbean, she was trying to stuff me with stuff. I had some gloves in there, gave her the gloves. Brothers, she took the gloves and she put them, she's gonna die. She put them on her head and she literally laid into them like a kid would hold a teddy bear at night time when they're scared. She started crying. And I said to myself, what the hell am I doing, blood? Like, what am I doing? I can't do this for tonight. And I turned to my boys and I called them and I said, "Listen, you lot, I don't know what we're on, but this can't be something that we just pick up and drop." Yeah? And I remember riding home from Embankment all the way through Islington and seeing loads of people outside of supermarkets, outside the stations, who couldn't stay home and couldn't stay safe. I remember getting to my yard and seeing my wife come to the door through the frosted window and her answering the door and saying, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "What? Didn't you give out everything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we gave out everything, but I just feel lost." I said, "I've come home, you've switched on the light, you've got a light switch to switch on, I've got a lock to lock, I've got hot water when I need it, I've got a fridge with cold drinks when I need it, I've got a kettle when I need something hot, I've got bread, I've got milk, Caribbean household, food's being cooked and seasoned from the night before, Christmas tree with presents all up the wall for the kids." At the time, it was PlayStation, Xbox that had just come out. I had both of them. And I toyed with my life choices, man. I sat down at the table with all this food, Caribbean household, planting every meat you can think of except pork on the plate. And I toyed with it. I was like, there's so much people that can't eat food outside, and I'm just jamming, popping Christmas crackers, watching Christmas films over and over again. I've watched for years upon years upon years. And there's people outside who have none of this, none of the laughter, none of the conversations. But the majority of us are still miserable when it comes to Christmas because we're so used to it. Yeah. And that ride forced me to basically put myself out there for others and not limit myself to what I believe is enough. And by doing that, has had so many wins for me that I can't. A win for me is calling a corporate company and saying to a corporate company, "Do you know what? Can you help me with such and such? All right, here's my credentials. This is what I do." Send them through a couple articles. "Oh my gosh, we have to help you." And they send it. That's a win. That is literally Robin Hood. That's what I'm on. I'm on that level of activism where I'm saying to myself, "Do you know what? Let's get the big corporate companies to give back into the community." That's what I'm on.
And it all started from that one chance.
Exactly. That one woman I met is how this has all started.
Yeah. And you probably met thousands since then, right?
Yeah. But yeah, that's where I'm at. It's making sacrifices with my own personal life to help other people. From one sacrifice, I can help. Like, you know, night before last night, we went out and we gave out about 6 sleeping bags for people that are going straight into the sleeping bags, windproof, waterproof ones that retail like £80 each. And, you know, toothbrush, toothpaste, to us, that's nothing. But to someone who's never had any food, any hygiene in their mouth for such a long period of time, all the acidy drinks you have, all the food you're given, all the sweet stuff you're given to keep that high, you know, your teeth rot. You can't even go see a dentist because you're not signed up to the dentist. Dental care won't get dealt with in a hospital. it has to be for a dentist. The problem we have in comparison to people who are sleeping rough is we can gain information for something we have a problem with. If a cooker don't work, you can jump on YouTube and work out what's wrong with the cooker, and when the electrician comes and say this is wrong,
have that phone with a YouTube video how to do
you
it.
can even work out how to fry an egg from YouTube. Some people, you'd be surprised how people view an egg that needs to be cooked and how to do it. Yeah, but they can't obtain the information, and this is why I think it's so important to have outreach structures. Like, there's another outreach place called Street Angels UK. Amazing people. Yeah. But I find them the pinnacle of what changes need to be made, because they do things from an ethical point of view. They do things with no red tape involved. They don't care about who they're meeting. As if you come up to them, they're gonna help you.
Yeah.
And she's like that. Anthea's like that. Off camera, on camera. She's very passionate about what she does, and that is the type of messages that need to go forward. Those are the type of movements you need. And that's where we go wrong over and over again, because there are plenty of charities that, your CEO will get paid 134 grand for the year. So you're telling me that your charity needs to fill 134 grand to pay your CEO and then start doing work?
I know, right? That's crazy.
Most charities, I wouldn't ever donate to them.
Exactly. For that reason alone.
But see, the thing is,
for that reason alone.
This is what I call for, and I haven't started that campaign yet. I call for charities to be put into a tier system. And what I mean by that is, your green charities are charities that don't have profit, so they symbol as a green set of numbers. Your amber charities are charities that have a profit left over of, let's say, 1 million as amber, and your red have net worths. And you leave the net worths, and you can choose based on their tier whether you help them or not. Because it takes a lot of pressure to someone who's green trying to do the right thing to someone who's red and doing the wrong thing, because you put them in the same category.
Yeah. I mean, in my eyes, a true charity, you'll have the staff working for free.
Yeah,
there'll be no...
Yeah.
But you see, this is the thing.
Marketing.
This is the thing. I got a voice note right now, on my phone. I would play it, but I won't play it. They said that they got rejected from the charity commission because the charity itself didn't earn any money.
Who cares about corporation status?
No, but think of what I'm saying though. Yeah. You refuse someone charity status because the charity doesn't make money. It's not about it not helping people.
That's retarded. It goes against the whole principles of what a charity is. But my thing is, if you're really going to do something charitable, you don't need to register it as a charity on the company's house or wherever charities are registered. Do what you're doing. You ain't got a charity registered or whatever.
No.
What you're doing is charity. And that is from the good of your heart with good intentions. And you're not there is no profit. No one's being paid wages. That right there is the definition of what a real charity is.
Mm.
Well, there should at least be caps on how much you get paid. I mean, because people still might want to put their whole heart into it.
That's what you just, in my eyes, that's what you call a company. A company that's, putting maybe, a red, amber, green amount of money towards a cause. But there's still people being paid. That's a corporation. It's a company in my eyes.
But then you can't put your whole heart into the cause anyway, innit? Because if you've got a job and on the side you're doing it, I mean, obviously you're doing it, but like you could probably do a lot more if you put your whole heart into it. But you need money, innit? So
all a company is, it's the same structure. A charity is the same structure as what a company is.
Yeah.
Except they don't get taxed.
Yeah, I know.
That's all it is. But they're still employees being paid. They've still got expenses.
But that's what I'm saying. There should be a cap, because you're paying a CEO 160 grand, and that's where most of the donations are going to first, and they're doing that.
This is my take on it. Yeah,
but we need it for marketing.
Shelter is a homeless charity. Shelter would have started like someone like me, who looked at a problem or may have had a death in the family from someone who was homeless. I said, "Oh, I'm going to activize this, and I'm going to make this a problem." And then it gets big, and then you become that situation, that charity. But tell me why you forgot yourself to a point where your charity doesn't even have a box inside its charity shop for a homeless person regionally to be able to walk in and get a pair of gloves for free.
It's going against the whole ethos, the principles of what the charity.
Tell me why you look at Oxfam. back in 1980s, I would watch adverts. Back in 1986, sorry, I'm chatting rubbish. Back in like the 90s, I would watch an Oxfam advert on TV, on little TVs you used to tune in, with children in villages, malnutrition, no water, asking for money, donate to this number. Yeah? Now, in 2024, I watched the same advert with kids. Guess the difference? I've just been watching generations upon generations upon generations of kids in the same village, in the same adverts.
Yeah, no, right.
Do you know how much it costs for the film crew to fly over to these countries and film these things?
I'm saying they got overheads.
Tell me why we're not in a position where Oxfam has its own water and it's selling originally the same amount as Evian.
It's mad, isn't it? What's that thing they do every year where they raise money like through that bear thing? They do that every single year since the 80s, like, and
Exactly.
they raise like £100 million.
Akon put electricity in one city on his ones.
Yeah.
We've got charities that can't even do a flipping wind-up radio.
In 20 years.
So for me, you know, that's where my stand is. You know, at the end of the day, you know, there are, and I'll say it. I don't care. There are charities that I rate. I rate them because I know the person who's behind them and what they're doing. I rate it. But there's some charities that make things so difficult for people that it just puts a massive tarnish on whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So
you have to kind of like you have to draw the line of what you believe a charity is, and I guess I'm setting a really sort of like black and white bar there when what my definition of what a charity is, isn't it? Like, there are charities out there. Yeah, there are people being paid. They've got overheads, etc., etc., and they're doing good things.
And I know people who have become charities, and it's been one of their biggest headaches they've had because of the paperwork side. Like, you know, I'll give you an example. If you tell her, they said to me, V, do you know what? Look, I've got these socks that I need gone, come and have them. I got to go and write down a log of all the socks I've had. And I've got to work out and tell the charity commission where the socks went. That's now an asset of the charity that I've given out. Whereas if I've collected 1,000 pairs of socks and I give out 1,000 pairs of socks in a month, I ain't got to tell no one nothing. I just got to keep it moving. Because really and truly, I would rather have a box of 1,000 pairs of socks in my house, go home, pick up my bike, grab 5 pairs of socks out of it, put it in my backpack and go for a bike ride, hand out 5 pairs of socks while I'm out with no paperwork. Which one are you picking?
Yeah, it makes
You're getting the job done.
Because my personal life is so blessed, yeah? I'll tell you what I mean by that off camera in a minute. My personal life is so blessed that I don't have to worry about these things. And the blessings have come because I guess in a certain way, God doesn't want me to get readjusted with having to go after certain monetary things.
That's internal though, right?
Because
You've reached that
he's
level
patterning me internally and patterning me in my personal life. I don't have to worry about those stuff over there. I don't have to worry about that application form over there. And that's the whole point. The whole point is being clued up enough to turn and say, well, hang on a minute. Just like I said to you earlier about the man owing you £100, but then you've had free pay increases on this side, but you've not correlated the two of them together. I correlate all the time. I'll do something for someone. Like the other day, I had someone ask me for, privately, they've come up to me and said to me, look, V, I know you give them out. I'm going to ask you something, but I feel a bit ashamed to do it. And I said, what is it? And they said to me, look, I need some sanitary towels. It was a female that asked me. Cool. So I said, went and got her a box, gave her a box of them. Didn't give her a couple packs, I gave her a box of them. I said, look, you got a household that has more females in it. You shouldn't have to be paying for these things anyway. Gave them to her. Bro, I looked in my storeroom and I realized I didn't have a lot of them. Yeah? Because I like to go to the storeroom and pick up what I need to do and go. And obviously, because I don't have money coming in, I sometimes store stuff. So if an emergency happens, I haven't just given out everything for the sake of giving out. I give it out to people that really, really, really need it. And you know, I got a phone call the same day, an hour later, yeah, bearing in mind, I knew that I didn't have enough to give her what I wanted, but I gave it to her anyway. In the back of my mind, I blocked myself from possibly giving her that blessing. Do you know, someone called me and said to me, "Oh, V, I've been trying to get in contact with you. Every time I go to call you, something comes up. But I've called you today and I'm glad you've answered the phone." I said, "Oh, what is it?" They're like, "Oh yeah, I work with this company called Bloody Period, and I've got about 100 to 200 packs of sanitary towels. Do you want them?"
Oh, that's mad. That is that's divine.
This is a common thing with me.
Mad.
I went on a bike ride the other day with my friend. He broke something on his bike and he said to me, "V, have you got tie cables?" I'm like,
Cable ties.
"Yeah, cable ties." I'm like, "No, I ain't got none." And he goes, "Go on, mate, do your law of attraction stuff." So I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Go on, say to the universe I want to see this happen. Say to the universe you want tie cables." So I said, "Cool, I want tie cables." We're riding along the road, about 3 o'clock in the morning. A guy walks out of a building with a pencil behind his ear. So I've looked at the guy. In my head, he doesn't fit the area. I've gone up to him. I've gone to him. "Hi, mate. You all right?" I goes, "By any chance, have you got any tie cables?" The man's replied to me, goes, "You're a bit kinky to want tie cables this time of night." So I said, he goes, "Yeah, I've got some." Man presses the button on his thing to a plumbing van. Yeah, electrician's van. He's gone in the back of the van and pulled out a pack of tie cables and gone to me, "What size do you want?" My friend Chris has gone to me, "You're taking the piss, bro." You're taking it.
You manifested it.
This is a common thing for me. And because I guess good deeds don't fall away from you, man. You know, it's good karma.
Yeah.
All these terms that we use all the time, they mean real things.
Yeah.
And trust me, when I get off camera and explain to you one of the biggest things that happened to me, you'll be like, "No, that's actually mad." And then you'll realize what motivates me to do stuff without having to have that monetary value behind it.
Right, so I'm conscious of the time. I think we've been going for about 2 hours and 15 minutes now.
Yeah.
We can easily do a part 2.
Yeah.
This has been a really, really insightful conversation.
Definitely.
And I feel like I've definitely learned a lot and I'm able to sort of like see things from a different perspective. And I'm certainly not going to be judging homeless, sleeping rough,
Yeah,
you know,
rough sleepers.
I've definitely took that away from this month. So it's been absolutely amazing for me. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up, or?
No, it's just, you know, as Londoners, obviously I come into contact with us because this is our city, but just have a bit more empathy, man.
Yeah.
You know, have a bit more love towards people that reside in your spaces. Your neighbours, say hello to them. We're not taught to, you know, back in the day, if you needed sugar, you'd knock your next door neighbour. Yeah. You know, but now everyone
don't even know your neighbour's name. You're living next door to them for 10 years and it's like, who the fuck is that?
Just be a bit more.
Yeah. There's no community.
Yeah, just be a bit more community oriented.
Sense of community.
Yeah, that's all it is, man. That's what I'd say. I'll say, you know, anyone who's watching this, by just changing your character and how you are towards people will warrant that behaviour from them. Because you're giving them a hello. They're now accustomed to saying hello to you in the morning. If you don't make those choices, you're going to continue to walk past people and not know them.
Yeah.
If I have a problem, especially in North London, there will be no situation where I'll be left outside on the road and not get help from no one. Whether it's be someone who's tried to fight me, or someone who's tried to snatch my phone, or someone who's tried to have an argument with me. Lo and behold, there'll be someone that walks past me that says, hang on a minute, no, that can't run. I'm going to get involved in that because I put myself out there to talk to people, whether I know them or not. Open the door for someone, help someone cross a road. Why are all of these things being diluted out of our characters? We grew up on them. Our parents, our grandparents had those ethics of cooking for someone who didn't have food and they would come around and have food. Why don't we do that no more? When's the last time you had someone who you knew about that didn't have food? You don't have anyone to come around your house to eat food because everyone's hiding what they're doing now. Back in the day, people used to openly say, "I'm having problems at home," and our grandparents used to cook for them or send food down the road to give them. But that doesn't happen no more because you're conditioned not to talk your business.
Yeah. It's deep, man. Change.
Anything you want to add?
No, I'm good. That was I just want to say I've changed as well now. I've changed man. Good. I want to do the bike ride and I want to help you. No, I'm definitely coming to do that. And I'm definitely, because I see homeless people all the time, but I'm just doing that thing that you do now. I'm not going to overthink it. Like, I think overthinking it, like, Yeah, I just don't want to do that
It will
anymore.
stop you from doing anything.
Yeah, I think it does. I think too much anyway, but I think I'm just gonna literally stop that now because I do feel like doing that sometimes, but I overthink it and now I'm gonna stop.
You know what? One thing I'm gonna do it's like a little weird idea, not even weird idea. You know them little things you buy. I can't remember where you even buy them from. You know, like you it's like a little plastic packet. And you break it and then it stays warm for like about 8 hours.
Hand warmers, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna carry a big packet around with me all the time.
Yeah,
because we are starting winter now.
Yeah,
and that little thing right there is enough just to give someone warm hands. Like,
Yeah,
Well, how long does that last for when you break it?
it's about 8 hours. I think.
8 hours. Oh shit. Okay. Are they expensive?
No,
It's like you buy a pack of 6 of them for £1 or something.
Is it? Yeah, I'm gonna do the same. I'm doing the same.
I'm gonna
Some of them
go
put
out
them in
and
their
buy-
socks,
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
in their
100%.
shoes, keep themselves warm from the feet up.
Yeah. That's just
Everyone
one
should do
little
that.
thing.
Everyone.
Like, you could come up with bare
And this is the
ideas.
thing, you can think that's a little thing, but you know,
That's massive to them.
exactly. And to people that are watching this, if you've helped someone stay warm Monday, which means you've helped them survive that cold night till Tuesday. Tuesday, someone's come and giving them some McDonald's. Wednesday, someone's come and giving them a sleeping bag. Everyone's had a point to play until local authorities have come on that Thursday to keeping that person alive until local authorities have found them. Everyone has a step by allowing them to go up that ladder we spoke about in Snakes and Ladders until they get that support. If we don't support them, it's a slippery slope back to square one again. That's the whole point. You've got to help someone in small increments because it's a greater good.
And there is nothing
That's how
too
the big
small,
stunt.
right? Isn't it?
Exactly.
It might seem very little to you, whatever, your little thing, but that is massive to the person sitting
As
there
they say,
with freezing cold.
our rubbish is another man's treasure.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
for real.
We've all got that. We've all got that cupboard or that drawer or that loft in our house of things we don't need or don't want, but we're so tuned into not letting things go and throwing them in the bin.
Yeah.
Why don't you go into that drawer or into that cupboard or into that loft? You got clothes in there you've never worn for ages.
That just reminded me actually. We have it's not a lost property, but we've got a few shelves over there, and every like once a month I'll get the night shift guy to just gather it all up because no one's come and collected it. It's loads of clothes, and I've got a guy. He sends it to Ghana or something like that or whatever. But what we're gonna do now, I don't know if it's any help, but we could use it here, man. Share it, little some here.
Exactly, man.
Any big warm jackets or something.
Exactly. Those are the type of things that really make a massive difference to someone, man. Like, I don't know, you turn around and you say to yourself, as I close up quickly, you go into you have a jacket. The jacket's worth £100. You bring the jacket to a shop, like Shell or whatever. They assess it and pull it up to £50. In that lifetime, that jacket sold for £150 now. When you buy that jacket for £50, even though it was £100 before, is it to help someone or someone just found a bargain? Because the premise of a charity shop is supposed to have someone having help. But the people who need the help aren't getting the help for the topic of what the charity is for. But someone just found a bargain. You see loads of people thrifting, which is where they go into a charity shop, buy something for cheap, pull it up online for more money and make money off it. That's called thrifting.
Oh, okay.
Why are we thrifting? Why are people allowed to go to charity shops and have things as a bargain as opposed to helping the cause? Doesn't make any sense.
Well,
You're going to have a bargain, give out a pair of socks then.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, from the charity's perspective, like I said, it's just money making.
Yeah, just trying to make
And
money.
obviously not all charities, but there's only one particular charity that I rate highly, and she does really well with where she is. And yeah, other than that, done.
It's good, man.
This has been an amazing episode. So, right, V, one thing we do at the end of every episode, give us your punchline, your gem, your words of inspiration, whatever it is. It can be a couple of words. It can be a few sentences, a paragraph, whatever it is. Give us your,
Yeah.
it could be your slogan, whatever.
Community is only as good as the unity that resides in it. And it's only as strong as the love, peace, and unity that you share amongst yourselves in your constituency.
That is so
I
deep.
think that's definitely the gem of
Perfect.
today. Yeah. Everything we spoke
The
about,
wrap-up.
that sums it up. That was good.
It's really good.
That was good. And then the last thing, everyone that comes here, I don't know if you've ever heard me say this. I'm like, hey, come on. You heard me say it?
No.
Give us your hey, come on.
Exactly like him.
You got there?
Hey, come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Nice one, brother.
Bro,
this has
that's
been
it, bro. Good stuff, man.
good stuff, man. Yeah.
All right, so
Wicked.
All right.